Oh, and I didn't do my introduction. Should I do my introduction? Is it
Yes,
worth
sir.
it?
Might as well.
Is it part of the brand?
Gotta do it.
About by making Cavill this guy again. Hello and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. Today, I am so excited to do this particular stream because it has nothing to do with any heat or anything. This is all fucking love. Happy Easter, everyone. I hope you're all having a great time over this Easter weekend. And today, we are going to be discussing best third acts in superhero movies, which Cole is gonna like fucking undercut and basically go like troll every single one of mine. I know already. And we're gonna be talking about best soundtracks, or not soundtracks. Pardon me. That's actually wrong. Best songs specifically made for a superhero movie or a movie, right? And we can also throw in. I know that Sean wanted to talk about best themes for a superhero. What theme has captured a superhero's character the best as well in these kind of movies? So I've got my co-presenter. It's this way, even though it's this way, but in this way I've got Sean, and also down there, which is easier. I don't have to go up here to point down. Is K Dots. How you doing, guys?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, pretty good.
Good. So you're still on mute, bro. I don't know why you keep going on mute. You haven't said anything. Nothing you've said has been heard.
Well, I meant to say good to be here with the Nerd Man and Cole. Make sure you guys share the stream. Everyone in chat, share the stream, show us some love. So, people can just come and watch.
Yeah. So do we want to start with just third acts? Like,
yes.
I think we should for sure do third acts.
We should do third acts.
I'm just gonna say now, though,
specifically just the Marvel movies or comic movies in general.
Why would I do just Marvel?
I mean, not Marvel.
Why would I ever do just Marvel?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, do you want to do Marvel, DC, or just DC and Marvel movies?
I'll do DC, Marvel, any comic book movie that has a good third act. I don't care what it is.
I'm just gonna say now, though, that probably won't be like at least the full list, my actual best, because I mean I would actually have to think about that for a while and go through all of them. But I'm just gonna pick 5 that I really like, though.
And I want to hear why as well. What was the impact of it, and then we can discuss the scenes as you say them. Because I think I've watched most comic book movies, so I'm kind of curious as to yours.
Do you want to include TV shows too, like last episodes?
No, fuck that.
Okay.
No. Movies, I'm not. No. I mean, if that was the case, then Daredevil each season would would win, basically, or it would be very high up. But and The Boys. I mean, fucking hell, some of their season finales have been really good. But no, I want to keep it to movies.
All right, let me.
So, who wants to throw out one first? Who wants to be the first to throw it out to the sharks?
Well, obviously, I'm gonna say this. I think.
I'm gonna.
I think Spider-Man 1 has a really solid and powerful third act.
Okay, remind me of that one, because I never Spider-Man 1 is harder for me to remember than
what, the Green Goblin fight at the end.
When he fought Green Goblin, he had to choose.
And when he stabs himself, that was brutal. And I was sorry that was one of my top 5 as well. It's like he was like punching like the brick walls and everything, like just beating the shit out of him, and with the bomb, like it was so
score
brutal.
playing either. There was no score playing. It was like all silent.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good thing to talk about. So there was no score playing. The brutality of it didn't fit what was in the rest of the movie. It like really contrasted with it. You're like, whoa, where did this come from, right? Because the rest of the movie has been a little bit like more family friendly, more whimsical and whatever. And then at the end you have this brutal fight scene. But the funny thing is, I swear to you, I cannot remember Spider-Man 1's end scene. I remember a few. Spider-Man 1, I always watch it and I just enjoy it, even though there's bits where there's a lag. There's just little bits where there's a lag where I'm like, great, but I don't remember this fucking last scene that much.
I think it's the most impactful third act of the trilogy, honestly.
Really?
Now,
I remember the Doc Ock one, and I remember the one from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, so I do like the Doc Ock one, right? But to me, I don't dislike Peter and Doc Ock's relationship in that movie. I feel like it could have been done better to where they had more development before he became Doc Ock. I think there should have been a little bit more like them, like show this relationship of, if you played the Spider-Man PS4 game, not sure if you played it, but Peter and Doc Ock have a greater relationship in that because Peter was actually an intern for Dr. Octopus and they had this relationship for a while. So there's a greater attachment. And when Peter finds out his mentor becomes evil and he's doing all this bad stuff, it's like really, and he looked up to him. It's just like in Spider-Man 2, Peter looked up to a great mind like Doc Ock, this man who wants to change the world, blah, blah, blah. I feel like it could have been way more impactful if Peter knew Dr. Octopus. Let's say back in high school, he interned at his, for him, got to get some extra college credits. He interned for him just to show a greater bond. But the third act is not bad. It's still a top tier third act, but the Green Goblin and dare I say even low key that Spider-Man 3 third act, I like those more because of the lessons from it. Especially the Spider-Man 3 third act, that lesson of forgiveness.
The Spider-Man 3 third act, I remember very clearly with her on the black spider web, and he's fighting Venom, and right. he rings the things, and then there's the really emotional scene with Sandman at the end. And I honestly, I know I like the funny thing is I know I like the third act of Spider-Man 1 a lot, but I for the life of me I can't remember it right now. And that's, I've always told you I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. I think his movies are some of the best superhero movies ever. Like I wish that somebody had done the amount of attention to Spider-Man, right? Like in his movies that they've done, that somebody would do that amount of attention that with Wonder Woman or something like that, or like Superman. Even Superman has had that kind of attention, at least from the first guy, what's his name? Richard Donner. But like, that's what I mean. Anyway, Cole, before we move on to the next one, what do you say about Spider-Man's third act? Spider-Man 1.
Well, I mean, again, same reasons, just the brutality, the silence there with the score, and again, it actually felt like, I know you don't remember it, but there were so many points where it actually felt like he was going to die. Like even when he was like, pissed him off and, the music then started playing and he got some strength back and, he was going to start overpowering him. It still felt like something might have happened because like, God, how close the way they shot like him almost using the spike to stab him during that scene was very realistic and really close there, and then again him stabbing himself when he was trying to trick him. That was amazing, and then also just the end in there when he brings the dead body back, and yeah, and then that sets up the other films with James Franco's character wanted to kill him.
This is the funny thing. I'm usually so good at remembering these movies as well. It's really funny that like this is you brought up the first one, and it's one of the ones that I don't remember. Jay Castle is very, very happy. By the way,
yeah, but he's going to be more happy because the other one's going to be Spider-Man 2.
Okay, well,
all right, let's move on from this one because
yeah. Well, let me ask this to kind of like give something definitive for the chat. Out of the whole Spider-Man Raimi trilogy, which film do you guys have the best third act out of all of them?
I mean, well, for me, it would be the first one, but I mean, the second's my favorite film out of the three. But yeah, the best third act would be the first. And I mean, while the third act is,
it's yeah, go on.
No, so I was just saying, and while the third act or second half of like Spider-Man 3 is like the weakest part of with like Venom and stuff, and what dragged the film down. I do think there were still some great moments in that though, especially when he defeated Venom and everything, and the ending and stuff with James Franco's character dying, like, and you know, mainly because also I watched that when I was younger in the theater, so it did have an impact on me. I know I'll watch it today, and it's not as good, but yeah, so I still want to give some credit to that because I don't think it was as bad as people said.
Nerdman, which one for you out of the whole Raimi trilogy had the best third act?
Well, I think it's unfair of me to say because I don't remember the first one. I would say the second.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, I think it was a little less messy than Spider-Man 3. I think there was a lot going on in Spider-Man 3, and some of it paid off in a really good way, and then other things I felt like were just weak. Like, I was like, that's how you're going to defeat Venom? Really? Like, he seemed, not like he seemed badass, but he seemed like, oh, this is going to be a big deal for Spider-Man to deal with by the end of this. And I felt like he got scarecrowed in the end of that movie. You remember Scarecrow, how he gets beaten at the end of Batman Begins?
Yep.
And you're just like, oh, why? It was a good setup. It was a good setup for the character. And I was just like, that is a way.
Okay, all right. So since we're on the Dark Knight trilogy, and to make it more definitive for the chat, so they can see, out of the three films in the Dark Knight trilogy, which one has the best third act? Personally, for me,
go on. That's easy for me.
It's kind of because all the third acts is kind of, but I think the Dark Knight. I think that Dark Knight third act is the best of the three.
Dark Knight is not even my favorite Nolan Batman movie, and it has the best third act.
Yeah, it does.
There's no doubt
all
about
the third acts to me have that Dark Knight Rises, the shit with Talia does, but as far as like him leading him fighting with the police and stuff, him taking back the city, him taking a bomb out the city, you know, and
that was mildly dumb. I mean, that was like taking an A-bomb out of the city, flying it like within visual distance, and it blowing up and it not causing any impact. That was like, and he doesn't die. I don't know that I can
He jumped out.
I know because it's Batman, but like that was the biggest because it's Batman.
I mean, yeah, but Batman Begins, I think, has a better third act.
And that's funny because it's the most realistic. It's one of the more realistic takes on Batman. And then it just was like that. I literally remember seeing Fonzie, skiing and jumping the shark. Right. when I saw that scene, I was like, I had a visual image of Fonzie doing that. But yeah. I can't even remember. I can't keep
I mean,
up
for
with
me,
you,
so
Sean.
if
Do
we
you
go in
not?
third
You
act,
don't like the Dark Knight trilogy, right, Sean?
third act.
Wait, sorry. What? You said I don't like the Dark Knight trilogy. What?
I can't remember. I can't keep up with you because you're such a.
But no,
hipster
I think.
and,
Listen,
like,
I think it's. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, overrated. Obviously, I don't think the Dark Knight is like some.
Okay, yeah, I knew it.
I don't
I
think
knew
it's
it.
some
It's
masterpiece or
overrated.
anything. What? No.
In comparison to fucking what?
The like actual amazing comic movie. There are many flaws with it, but no, it's still
No, but
the Dark
wait.
Knight.
In comparison to what? Is it not a masterpiece?
It's not better than the
I
whale.
mean, I don't want to get to every flaw or
Sean thinks
weakness
it's not
with
better
it,
than
but
the whale.
No, but what are you comparing? No, I really
well,
want to know
actually,
what
no,
you're
that and
comparing
the-
it
that-
to.
that
Like
and the Dark Knight
action
are about the
movies? Are you kept comparing it to other action movies, or are you
no,
comparing
it's
it
to any. I don't
to
compare genre.
highbrow fucking drama? I don't. Are
Well,
you comparing
I
it
don't-
to
I don't-
Shakespeare, or are you comparing it to like?
I don't compare stuff like I just compare to good movies. That's all.
Yeah, but are you doing that for other fucking comic book movies?
Yes. What do you mean? I do it for all. What are you talking about?
So if you are
And you didn't let me
comparing,
finish. I didn't
if
say I
you
didn't
are
like
comparing
it. I
your
said
average comic book movie to other good movies, then no comic book movie is good.
no, that's not true at all. There are good comic book movies, many.
Maybe V for Vendetta, because
Many.
you dismiss all the Snyder stuff. So Watchmen is out of the
No, Watchmen's good. It's not great, but it's good.
No, but I'm saying, what are you comparing it to? Because you say it's overrated by what? By another superhero movie?
What do you?
An
I just
action
don't. I just don't think it's a masterpiece. I see, and there's flaws and weaknesses. That's all. I said, and
But
I
how
said.
can you
it's- I
criticize
said-
something
oh
for
my
not being a masterpiece? That's what I don't understand. Why
No,
would you
I'm not.
criticize it?
I'm not.
not being
You
a
asked,
masterpiece?
I don't like it, and I said, no, I didn't say I don't like it. I don't think it's a masterpiece or anything. And then you cut me off, and I was gonna say, but I think it's excellent, an 8 out of 10. And then Batman Begins a 7 or 8 out of 10, and The Dark Knight Rises though has too many. It's like a 5 out of 10. It's like where the hell did this come from? This hate, thinking I hate it.
No,
Like fanboys who like give it 10 out of 10 all the time automatically without thinking.
Okay, I
That's
get
David Hayes, the
that.
Dark
But,
Knight
like,
trilogy. You got him confused.
but what I'm saying is, I would be. That is the least angry I would get from somebody overrating something, right? Like it would be like saying, all right, if somebody overrates Schindler's List, I can understand where they're coming from, because I'm like, okay, you're overrating it, but it is fucking really good and
Yeah,
like
I
revolutionary and genius.
I don't get angry though, nerd man. I just
No, I'm not
make
saying
jokes on
angry.
streams.
I'm not saying angry, but like, you know what I mean? Like to come out against them, like it's a fucking good. It's
What
a
up, Mike?
great. It's a
No,
great.
I don't
movie.
know. I don't. Just
Anyway,
me trolling
okay.
on streams with people who love it to get a reaction to make the streams funny. That's all. I don't actually.
So let's see. The Nolan trilogy are great films, but not great Batman films. Okay, Batman Begins was the best for a Batman film, but Dark Knight is the best film. I'd say out of 10, 8, 7, 6. Yes, I agree with that. I agree. No, 7's a little bit harsh for the Dark Knight, if you mean 7 for the Dark Knight.
7 for the Dark Knight.
Yeah, I think 7's a little bit harsh. I think 8 it's easily an 8. If you didn't know anything about Batman and you were just making a movie and that was just a movie, I think you can't. That's a solidly entertaining, well crafted thriller and an action movie.
That scene at the construction site where he has to keep the cops from shooting the hostages. That was a pretty intense scene.
Yeah.
And then he had to also fight the Joker goons too, to fight the Joker goons, the police, keep the police and the Joker goons from killing the hostages. It was like that was an intense moment. Using that basically detective vision, looking at all the entry points and stuff. That shit was dope.
Okay, so I might as well get this off my list then. This is one of my best third acts for a comic book movie. And as I said, it's not even my favorite of the Nolan trilogy. My favorite of the Nolan trilogy is actually Batman Begins, but you cannot deny that third act. I think it's so masterfully crafted. And it takes you through a lot of the journey of Batman and just gives you one of the best fucking supervillains of all time. You know, it crystallizes both their journeys. Now, I do think the whole film could have dealt with Batman a little bit more. Batman felt a little bit in the back seat in that, and his journey felt in the back seat. But like, as for the philosophical decisions he has to make at the end of the movie, I'll tell you one thing: the boat thing with the decisions on the boat, that's my least favorite part. I think the stuff that you were talking about, where he has to figure out the Jokers and who's who, and then the part where he's tapped into all these people's phones to figure out the Joker and his conflict with Lucian Fox,
Right.
and then the stuff where he confronts Two-Face. I think that's the strongest stuff. The boat stuff, I think it's a little bit heavy-handed. That's just me. What does everyone else think about the Dark Knight?
I mean, for me, okay, because with Batman Begins, I think both of them have the best third acts. For me, it's the Dark Knight. With Batman Begins, I think Batman Begins when it comes to when Batman Begins. And this is what I always talk, because I think this is the best part about that movie, was at the beginning when Bruce saved Rage. So burned his home down, as he said, and he saved him from falling off the cliff. Took him to the lady, and she nursed his wounds, all that. He didn't know if she was dead or not, whatever. The second time they meet, Ra's al Ghul leaves Bruce to die, burns his home down. Then Bruce is faced with a third decision at their last altercation: to let him live, to save him or not. And I think it was done in a way that was so it connected to the first two scenes, and the way it ended. While most people criticize for, oh, Batman shouldn't have let Rage die, I thought in that moment, if you had to look at it from Bruce's perspective, it made sense and it worked. You know, Bruce put a helping hand out to him first. Yeah, he destroyed the League of Shadows, but Rage, since he was radical, wasn't understanding Bruce's perspective and point of view on why he didn't want to kill the guy. Like, he just wanted to go to Gotham and liberate. He doesn't want to be no judge, jury, and executioner.
Right.
But in the third act, that made so much sense for Bruce, and that's where that's those moments when they finally deal with Batman's rule of not killing and stuff.
Killing, yeah,
and I thought
in a really interesting way.
In an interesting way where this makes sense. Like, yeah, Batman doesn't have to save everybody. Everybody's not deserving of saving. But he did give Ra's those chances. It's not like it was the only time. He gave him an opportunity. He gave him 2 chances, and Ra's didn't take them. Thought that worked really well.
Cool. Yes.
But for me, Dark Knight still has the best one. I mean, Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent dealing with Gordon, and then Batman riding off into the darkness, and then Harvey saying, "No, Jim, his son asked him, Dad, why is Batman running?" Because that was epic.
It's like
that was an epic monologue. I don't care. That was an epic narration. Daddy, why is he running? Because that shit was beautiful, man. That shit was beautiful.
It's one of the best endings to a movie, I think.
in general.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Very good.
next? Do you guys want to do the Wolverine trilogy next, or because we can focus on a trilogy by trilogy case, or just focus on like
Give me 1 second.
Let's get to the comments. Thanks for having wife with the dinner right now. All right, J-Man, if you decide to join us, let us know.
Nice.
Yeah. I would say, they wouldn't be two of my favorite third acts, but the third acts in Kick-Ass and Kingsman were pretty fantastic.
Oh, all right. Well, let's do Kick-Ass next. Well, we only got 2 Kick-Ass movies, but we can compare them. Kick-Ass 1 and 2. As much I have issues with Kick-Ass 2, but the third act is not bad. I think the first act is
I
better.
don't really like the film, but yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, I didn't really like the film in total, but the third act for me, like after the what's his name, the motherfucker kills.
Yeah, I mean,
the motherfucker kills.
Yeah, I mean, it was the best part of the film, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's what happens when you let a shitty director do it. The sequel, but anyway, yeah, but the first film, third act, was just a fantastic whole action sequence, and they did
Kick-Ass
it
on
so
that
well.
third act, and then the transitioning from the second act into the third after Big Daddy dies, that whole betrayal.
Yeah.
Out of the 2, Kick-Ass 1 has the best third act. I don't think Kick-Ass 1 has the best superhero third act in general, but out of the 2, Kick-Ass 1 has the best one. For me, the best parts of Kick-Ass is Act 1 and Act 2. Act 3 is kind of like whatever for me, but Act 1 and 2 are the best parts of Kick-Ass.
Yep. And then for Kingsman, same thing. Wouldn't be like I don't know if it would be like my top 5 or not either, but it was just a fantastic whole action sequence as well, with many things going on, and leading up to it was fantastic as well, with the drama and the character death, and also the action.
Which one I'm talking about?
We just did Kick-Ass 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Oh, you bastards! You bastards! Why are you stealing all my ones for? Yeah.
Was Kingsman one of yours too?
I just had deja vu, by the way. That was like, because I swear I've done this before. But like, Kick-Ass is one of mine as well.
Did. I believe you're thinking of, like, because we were talking about the Spider-Man ones and we did top 10 Spider-Man moments. That might be why you're having deja vu.
No, it was about Kick-Ass. Yeah. No, Kick-Ass has. What were you saying about it before? Just like, so I get a context.
Well, we said Kick-Ass 1 had the better third act. I think, because this is the thing, right? For me, with Kick-Ass 1 and 2, I mean, Kick-Ass 1, I like the first and second act more than the third act of Kick-Ass 1. Kick-Ass 2 has a trash first and second act, but that third act is really good. But Kick-Ass 1, the ending is not bad. It's just compared to the first 2 acts, the third act is like, it's all right, but at least you have a great beginning that leads up to your third act.
Jesus, everyone's fucking with us today.
after the betrayal, all that, it really leads up to a solid third act. It wasn't like emotional. I wasn't emotionally invested into the Kick-Ass 1 third act. I was emotionally invested into the second act when they get all their identities exposed and stuff, and everybody's watching. They're being beaten and stuff, and then Hit Girl comes in. You got Big Daddy yelling and stuff, calling out to his daughter. That was
amazing.
Part. Kick-Ass 2.
No, but you're forgetting something. Oh shit. Everyone's fucking with us today. I'll wait for him to say this. But he's forgetting one thing in Kick-Ass 1 I thought was amazing. Like, I remember being in the cinema thinking this is because it was so meta. I was saying, K-Dots, that in Kick-Ass 1, there was something that you're forgetting that was so meta, but so like it gave me all the joy of reading comic books in one scene. and that was when he puts on the rocket pack and he flies through the sky to, like with Hit Girl.
Yeah.
And the music and everything, and I was just like, yes, that is exactly the joy, because you're talking about a character who starts off going, oh, what if somebody dressed up like a superhero, what would happen? And obviously all the terrible things happen to him, but in the end he gets one pure moment of joy of like actually being Superman, like flying through the sky. And I thought that was an amazing. Would you count that as the third act, or would you count?
Well, yeah,
that
the whole thing is the whole thing is the third act.
I think after Big Daddy dies, that's when the third act kicks in.
Yeah,
that's still
Big Daddy. But I'm saying, would you say that is the because that's the crescendo of the third act? But I don't know if you'd say that was the that was the entire third act, because the third act is really her gunning down all the people and having the double fight between him and Red Mist and her and the boss. But I'll say this about Kick-Ass: the only thing I didn't like about it was that I felt like they were superheroes. Like you did. In the end of the day, like, yeah, he struggles a bit being a superhero or whatever.
Right.
But like Kick-Ass, Hit Girl and Big Daddy were straight up superheroes.
Yeah, they was.
So I know that's the kind of how it is in the comics, but it kind of it didn't, and I'm talking about the third act specifically as well. It kind of felt to me like, wow, you kind of copped out, like, from the whole concept of the movie, which is, no, what would happen if really people went out and tried to do this? If a little girl, went in and tried to like fucking shoot down all of these gangsters or whatever, she's not going to come out like triumphant in the way she did. I thought there could have been a little bit more
grounded
obstacles for her to face.
I mean, I think for the most part,
go.
No, go for go on.
Yeah, I think. Well, what you want is like to be more ground, because Kick-Ass, yes, if he had more training, he'd probably be more, better at what he does. But to feel more grounded, I think Kick-Ass, out of all comic movies in general, is actually a lot more grounded. Yeah, Hit Girl is kind of still out there, but the movie for the most part is grounded. Like, it's not say a little girl couldn't get some training and have better fighting skills than most people. For example, let's say though, when she was fighting in that room, right, with those thugs, you had a really big dude in there. Now, I don't really think a girl of that size, even with training, could take down a big dude like that. But let's say a more frail looking dude, maybe.
I mean, sure, it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, to me, like, as long as you have the right training, I think it shows that, like, you can get the upper hand on people, even if they, like, look or act tough, because, they're kind of like posers. A lot of these, like, gangsters and shit. Now the whole third act in the building, sure, there's points in that where it's, reaching a little bit, but for the most part, I think it stays with it overall. And there are points where
no, I mean, to me, like I enjoy. I was enjoying it anyway, but I felt like it just got to the point of seeing Hit Girl and Big Daddy operate, where I was just like, okay, well, you've just given up on the whole
concept.
It's not superheroes, because these guys are fucking superheroes. Like, the way she's like throwing guns around, the chamber goes into the or the bullets go into the chamber and whatever. Like, I'm just like, that's kind of superhero. But it was a minor quibble with the movie, because I thought it was so strong, the concept of this idea of this guy like teenager, like going out, like thinking, oh, you know, what if I just dressed up and like fought some dudes? You know,
Yeah.
like it was a pretty strong concept, and but I think in the end,
I haven't
even
seen it,
even the comic, I think
yeah.
gives up on that like halfway through. So it's not just
I
the film.
haven't seen the film in a while, but does Super kind of do the same thing or no?
Super, yeah, kind of does.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it pretty much is kind of the same concept. He's really, but even Super does give up on his concept later when it has like the full blown like.
Oh, Super's terrible.
What?
It's only that James Gunn did it, man. You know,
It's not terrible. Come
Oh,
on.
did James Gunn do that?
Yeah, he did Super.
I didn't know that.
It's no, it's
Sorry,
okay.
bro.
It's not terrible. Come on.
I didn't know he did.
Which here? Well, let's do the Blade trilogy next.
Well, so I was going to give some of my ones.
Oh, go ahead.
Which might be a little bit controversial.
What you gonna say?
He's gonna give one that's like really bad, and he'll be like, "Yeah, but my reaction to that, I was laughing my ass off. It was the best ever."
Cinematic,
like Eternals.
cinematic experience.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like
do you
the
want-
Eternals post credits scene.
Do you want me to give you my first one? I'll
Go
give my
ahead.
first one. It's Homecoming.
Oh hell nah, nerd man. I don't hate Homecoming as much anymore, but don't you? Well, all right, go ahead. Damn.
I mean, I thought it was okay for what it was going for, like a coming of age thing with Spider-Man. I thought it had some style and character, thanks to who directed it, who also did Dungeons and Dragons and Game Night. But I honestly thought
Did
the
they?
third act was like
No, they
most
didn't.
Yeah, but yeah, they did.
Those movies
sure.
are way better though. Like
Yeah,
really?
they did. But yeah,
No fucking way. I didn't
Well,
know that.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Homecoming.
I mean, I thought the third act in it though was like one of the more forgettable parts. Like, you know, when he in the final action scene and stuff, I thought it was the least memorable.
Right, because I thought there was moments in even like the second act, for example, when he saves his classmates at the monument,
Yeah,
the Washington Monument. Thought that was in the third act for me. What everything built up to the Keaton thing, like him doing
like after the
car.
twist with him in the car, it was everything else from there on was probably the least memorable stuff in the film.
Right, and then him like physically losing the fight. You're not saying every hero needs to win the fight. Sometimes it's not always about always being the strongest person.
Yeah.
But he just completely all he did was keep Vulture from just dying.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like
I want to hear
most
what
of the
Nerd
stuff in that
has to
ship got
say.
destroyed.
Do you want to know why I think Homecoming is the
Yeah,
best
let's
one?
see.
Okay. Because that movie,
Wait, the best out the three or in general?
it's the best out of all three of those movies.
Okay.
But that movie is so mediocre. It's so on the level of fucking mediocre, right? And if it isn't for that third act, that third act elevates it to even being a competent superhero movie. Like really, I'm telling you, like the stuff with him being under the rubble and whatever, and in the normal Spider-Man suit. Really, you didn't?
I hate it because it was like he was like, "Help! Help!
I don't like it
Somebody
either.
help!" Ah! I'm like, lift it up! Shut up!
I don't like it either. It's crying like a little bitch. I don't like it either.
Oh, that the rubble scene was so. I get it. I get the emotional thing it was trying to do, but then I'm like, you're Spider-Man. You can lift that up. Stop crying.
Mm-hmm.
No, I will, but I
You
also
feel like a helpless child in a moment.
But I thought the performance was good, and I thought it
What?
did.
The performance,
did-
yes, I agree with the
The
performance.
I didn't
performance
think it
was
was that
good,
good either.
and the it was the first thing that really felt like original to this Spider-Man, this take on Spider-Man. Like all the other takes on Spider-Man, you really hadn't seen him being vulnerable because he's young, you know, and that and also like it's just Michael Keaton. That was the Michael Keaton show. The whole third act of that was the Michael Keaton show, and I really enjoyed that element of it. Like because he always does like good in those kind of dark, sinister roles. So that was my thing with it. So the fact that it took for me a movie that wasn't that great to a pretty good movie or a good movie. I think that says something about the third act. What do you say, Ansel?
The Homecoming third act out of the whole trilogy is better than Far From Home.
And it's better from the No Way
As
Home.
much as I have issue with No Way Home, I like the No Way Home third act much better.
Really?
As much as I have
see why.
issues with No Way Home, it is better. It is a better third act. I mean, with the Green Goblin fight, all three Peters having their little moment talking about each of their loss. Peter having to give up, Peter having to accept the wish and have everybody forget about him. He finally builds his own suit. Then he does his final swing, which we've been waiting for it, asking for this whole trilogy. His final swing, which is at the end of every single Spider-Man movie. I thought it was it got me to say, dang, I can't really hate on him no more. He kind of is Spider-Man now. I'm still gonna hate on him.
K-Dot is 100% right. Everything he said. That final act in No Way Home was 10 times better than the final act in Homecoming. It was so much better.
Yeah, I mean, too bad the setup for No Way Home and everything was trash.
You both were speaking at the same time.
Yeah, my bad.
Either one of you said.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Cole.
No, I was just saying, too bad the setup and everything else in No Way Home with the story there was trash.
Shut up, Cole.
Right, that's what I say. Even though I have my issues with how you get to third act, the third act itself blows Homecoming and Far From Home's third act to smithereens.
Listen,
it blows.
No Way Home is a masterpiece. All right, stop it.
You're going too far.
I mean, that's objectively false with the flaws in that film, but
it's a masterpiece.
I think it's a solid film still, despite all the bullshit in it, because it's the same bullshit. Just like with the Suicide Squad, it's the same bullshit in almost every other comic book movie, though. But so at least they used both of those to get to better than usual stuff. But it's still a mess, and I mean, if you compare it to like the other two. Even though I wasn't a big fan of it, like they just threw away everything that had to do with like Tom Holland's like journey and everything, and then just like added that at the end, which Tom Holland made the writers do. They didn't come up with a fucking ending while they were making the film until like the very end. Like it's just a joke there, and they didn't even really do the nostalgia that well. Like we didn't even get a fucking Tobey Maguire Green Goblin moments. Like Spider-Verse did it better, even though I have a few issues with that too. But I still think it was solid overall. But like, come on, it's not a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
It's
a masterpiece. Better than Shazam 2. Better than Shazam.
Whoa!
So you need to take off those cameo goggles and just.
It's definitely a top 5 MCU movie for sure.
You are on drugs, and you're top saying 5. There's 5 MCU movies at least that are a masterpiece. That is Cap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cap.
Infinity War, Civil War, Winter Soldier.
Okay, well, now that you brought it, okay, yeah, no, but continue.
Masterpieces.
No, but nonetheless, though, since you brought it up, though, another one would be for me, Infinity War.
Fuck off.
Masterpiece. A masterpiece.
No. Wait. I'm not going to say that. Continue.
What?
You're not going to say
what?
No,
I'm saying they made some slip-ups here and there with some of the action portions. I'm just purely speaking of that whole moment there at the end, because I did not actually think they had the balls to actually do that shit. And then also, even at the very end, actually having that fireman stuff from like the comics, like I didn't actually think they would have all that shit in it. Like, I did not think the MCU and Kevin Feige would actually do that. And it honestly shocked me. And I'm not saying it was amazingly done or anything, but it was very impactful.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it wouldn't be top 5 for me, I don't think. But again, I'm not going off of like
you're just of
Infinity-
what you're thinking, what basically you can what's coming up in your mind right now. basically.
Yeah, because
No,
I would
and-
have to think about it for more to find like my definitive. I'm just bringing
Some-
up
some
one
of them I-
Infinity War
I-
is number one. It's the best MCU movie still to this day. There's no doubt about that. There's no change in
I
that.
mean, for me, I would go more with like Guardians or what was the one? Civil War.
Guardians in the
First Iron-
top 10.
Yeah, or Civil War. I've
Well,
forgiven
let's
Civil War now,
let's stick to
so.
third acts, but
Which
look, the third act of Infinity War.
wait, are we jumping
So
to the Avengers movies now?
No, we're just doing Infinity War. Like it's just like he said Infinity
we gotta-
War. So I'm
I
just
mean-
gonna kind of.
Okay.
Do we have to do the whole trilogy? We don't have to do the
Well, I
whole
mean, usually
trilogy.
it helps us compare.
I was thinking that we're just doing our favorite third acts of a superhero
Okay.
movie, not necessarily trilogies, but like you can compare it. I can throw in that I think Avengers is one of the best third acts, and therefore you can compare it. So,
For their time, for its time, yeah.
The third act of Infinity War is, if I remember correctly, Thanos is fighting just Iron Man and who's he
Doctor
fighting? He's
Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Iron Man,
Yeah,
Doctor
it's-
Strange, Guardians of
It
the
starts once
Galaxy.
they begin fighting.
And he's only fighting them, right?
He
Yeah.
fights them first, and
Well-
then he gets to Earth, and he handles the rest of
And then he
the
fights.
Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yes, and then he handles the rest of the Avengers in the
Wakanda. Then he snaps.
in Wakanda. I feel like it's just a lot of.
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
trying. No. I'm just trying to think in terms of other third acts of movies. The
Yeah,
story,
I thought the action
sto-
choreography was
the-
really
the-
good in those fights.
the story runs through it, which is good. There's a strong story through it, and it seems like almost Thanos is the protagonist, right? It's like he's the one trying to get to the goal, and I thought that was interesting. I do distinctly remember that I just felt like it was just like a lot of action, like in the end. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
on that?
that's-
Like it's just
That's what the third act of a movie should be.
no, I know.
It's
but
where
like,
everything comes together. It's like, yeah, absolutely. That's what it should have been.
I know what you're saying, but I think when I say like a lot of action, I just mean like even though there was a story in between it, it felt like, oh, let's do this cool action spot and let's do this cool action spot,
But it was
like
done
to
well, though.
as a kind of fan service, like suddenly
It was done well.
Thor
Thor
turns up and he fights. Yeah,
it's not like Endgame where it was horribly choreographed and it's just like a grocery list of you get a scene and you get a scene. No, it was actually done well in Infinity War.
interesting.
Oh, I mean, okay. If we had to jump to Avengers movies, and I had to do a
Which
comparison.
one are you comparing? The
Which
worst one is Age of Ultron, definitely. The
Agreed.
worst third act.
It's for me. I have to go with Avengers 1. While I like Endgame's third act more than Infinity War's third act. Infinity War's third act is less messy than Endgame's because there's a whole, you go to first act 1 and 2. Both movies have a mess, but act 1 and 2 of Endgame is not really a great build up to what you get in a third act for story wise. I had to go with Avengers 1. It's less messy. All the Avengers get to shine equally together.
Right.
There's no one is like they're all united.
And it's the main Avengers as well.
The
That's what I
core
like.
ones, yeah, core ones, and the way the action is shot, all those one take shots, and it kind of flips like a comic panel from here to here, showing them all together. Thor and Loki went at it. Iron Man's potential sacrifice when he took the missile up into space.
and it's genuinely funny as well. Like the third act of the Avengers, where it's able to balance comedy and action really, really well.
Right.
In a way, like
It wasn't too much of the
some of the jokes are very unexpected. I love the bit where like Hulk is just like, he goes, I'm a, what does he say? He says, I'm a god and blah 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 blah, and God, and Hulk just grabs him, smashes him, puny god. It's just like stuff like that was, in the cinemas would just cheer out loud moments.
I think since you said that, for me, and that's why Avengers 1 I like it, the rest of the Avengers movies kind of lost that balance of balancing out comedy and the action. Avengers 2 took it too far too, because Joss Whedon was just like he was huffing glue in the second movie. He took it too far. He was huffing too much glue. It's like
that's why I don't like it.
They tried to in the second movie.
Yeah, second movie was too much. I agree with you 100%. I do like the third act of Avengers 2. I think it's really good, like you said. The comedy isn't too much. It hits in the right place when Hulk punches Thor off of the Chitauri thing. Like that's classic Hulk, you know what I mean? But Infinity War just to me took it to another level though.
Because of the deaths.
No, I think they actually ruined the death by announcing the movies that they had coming out. Right, so that wasn't an impact for me. It's just the fact that Thanos won. He did the snap, and it's the way they each fought him on individually, and then they lost, and that was a big reason why they lost, is because they weren't a team.
I'll say this. I'll say this in agreement with your point. The third act is the best part of the movie of Avengers: Infinity War. Now I'm thinking about it. Like clearly, even though some of you might know my feelings towards Infinity
War. Majority of my problems is the first and second act. That third act,
the third act is by far the best part of the film. So, I was
gonna say, out the two, Avengers 1 and Infinity War are the best third acts. Endgame has that. Its third act, you keep watching. Parts of it was great, like Captain America versus Thanos, and yeah, that's really it.
Oh, shut up, man. Don't be like that. Don't be like that.
Yeah. You don't want to spill the beans.
I mean, because I have my issues with Infinity War, but like Thor coming down with that hammer, and then Iron Man and Thanos little moment, and then Thanos telling Iron Man, I've been cursed with knowledge, even though they never followed up on that.
Yeah.
It was
even just the way it starts, right? Now, as much as me and Hulk, and I don't like to see Hulk get his ass beat, I don't have an issue with that if they show how powerful Hulk is during the whole MCU. But they didn't do that. They powered him down. But just to have him come in and beat the crap out of Hulk like he did, it just showed how menacing Thanos was. And
I don't think that was good, though. I'm sorry. I still I can't get over it. Maybe I'm a Hulk fanboy or whatever, but like I couldn't get over that. I was just like, you're kidding me. That's how they beat Hulk. Thanos can't do that to Hulk. Thanos can't do that to Hulk in the comics.
I know.
Yeah,
maybe now because they've probably gone with the movie. You know how like comic books go with the movies after.
Oh no, they haven't. Comic Thanos always been like you can do magic and you can do magical stuff.
Yeah, but he could never beat down Hulk like that. No one could.
Well,
the whole Marvel universe, no one could beat Hulk like that.
Well, because they had to take away Hulk's power. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. Because they knew how broken that shit was. They should have kept it in and tried to make it work, but use Hulk sparingly. Don't just like.
Well, if Dr. Banner's actually trying to control his anger, and he doesn't want to become Hulk, then that works.
That's how you
that's how you suppress it. Like, say he wants to do other things instead, and then he just sometimes it just goes too far, and he has to become Hulk.
And Endgame dropped the ball by not giving them a rematch. You know what I mean?
I dropped the ball with many
Yeah.
things.
They should have
Yeah.
let Hulk and Thanos have a rematch.
Yeah, I don't even know what your opinion is on Endgame, Onzo.
My opinion on Endgame?
Yeah.
Oh, I've said it many times. The beginning and the end of Endgame is great. Then they get to that time travel stuff, and they pretty much destroyed the movie for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know,
I didn't.
I got another one. The Justice League movie third act.
What
What do
about
you
it?
mean?
It's good.
It's good.
Both the Justice League movie third acts. Which one's the better?
Oh,
God.
easily Zack Snyder's
Jack
Justice.
Snyder.
I was
for
hoping
sure.
you wouldn't bring that shit up with the fucking Flash run. Don't
Hey,
do that.
look. Even though you guys know I got my issue with Zack Snyder Justice League, I'm not gonna huff Gulu and say that Joss Whedon third act was better. The
It's not.
Zack Snyder Justice League third act, while I have my issues with that too, it's
It's
better.
not.
What?
I mean,
What
at
issues
least
do you
the
have
first
with
one
it?
went by faster.
What issues do you have with it?
Why don't
Look, see,
Well, so my issues is the main issues is building up to the third act. But looking at it like, okay, from the action standpoint, if I compare it to the Joss Whedon one, the Joss Whedon one kind of went kind of quick. It wasn't really no like epic action set pieces in the third act of the Joss Whedon one. The only epic one was Superman coming in and beating up Steppenwolf, and that's about it. The Zack Snyder Justice one has some better action moments in it for me.
I'll go further. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League and his Watchmen have two of the best third acts in any comic book movie.
I agree.
Watchmen is garbage.
Well, Watchmen. I agree with Watchmen. I don't agree with Zack Snyder.
No, but I'm not talking about the whole movie. I'm talking about the third act.
Yeah, I'm
And
agreeing with you. on
the
Watchmen.
third act of Watchmen is super fucking. Like, I know it's from the comic or whatever, but that doesn't matter. You know, the fact that
Yeah, but you champion.
Ozymandias like ends up being the architect behind it, and the way he fucking beats Dr. Manhattan, where you think no way he's beating Dr. Manhattan. All right, yeah, there's a point where you're like, okay, the film's solved. This is how it's a superhero movie. This is how it's going to resolve. Dr. Manhattan's gonna come, he's gonna crush this dude, and then it's just gonna be it. And he somehow manages to beat Dr. Manhattan as well with his intellect.
And it
And
wasn't
then
a big action either.
I'm telling you, if you haven't read that comic, going into that third act, your mouth is to the ground.
Yep.
Like, I don't. Onzo, were you aware like of the third, like the comic before you went to see Watchmen, or you hadn't read the comic?
No.
And you, Sean?
Sorry about what? My bad.
Watchmen, the third act. Were you aware? Had you read the comic before you went in to see the film?
No, it wasn't. Now that I did, I didn't really like that, but it wasn't a big issue. The main thing that drags it.
No, I'm just asking you a simple question. Had you read the comic before you saw the film?
No.
So were you aware of the ending?
No.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know if you had the same experience. I know you guys don't like the movie that much, so maybe you didn't. But my jaw, like, may as well have been on the ground when I was just like, wait, Dr. Manhattan isn't going to beat the fucking villain? The villain's just going to come out winning? And then they just exploded the hero. And I'm like, what am I watching here? But I thought it was great. I thought it was like, fuck. Like, I've never seen that before in a superhero movie.
I think Rorschach's lead up to his death and the whole little monologue he gives is probably the best part of the third act before he explodes.
Yeah.
Night Owl sees it. But I read the comic after, but even when I watched it before, even when I watched the movie before the comic, that third act does throw you off because you're thinking, just like you said, Dr. Manhattan's going to come in and save the day. But let's say but that's what the studio would have done, like a super save. Okay, let's have Dr. Manhattan come in and clean up everything. I think it was
it did throw
was
me off too,
even
despite
bigger
not reading it.
risk to do that because most people expecting a big action set piece, something crazy. I mean, if the studio had their way, they probably would have gave Ozymandias Dr. Manhattan's powers. So they have a big fight.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Do something engaging, right? But they decided to just, okay, we're gonna tweak what the reason is on why the world gets united, but we're still going to have the world unite against a common enemy, and Dr. Manhattan decides to be that common enemy for the world.
Right.
He,
Right.
you know,
Right. No, and I agree with everything you just said. But you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League, on the other hand, it's the Flash scene. I'm sorry, it's the Flash scene. It's just one of the most epic fucking depictions I've seen of a superhero's power on screen. And so yeah, and I actually do think that action scene, all the action set piece of Zack Snyder's Justice League suffers because we saw the Josh Whedon version first. And so it's like, oh, you're just getting a replay of it. But if you think about, if you had have just seen that without ever having seen Josh Whedon's version at all, and that was the first time you saw that, I think that action, like the Batmobile chase, may be one of the best Batmobile scenes in movies.
Man, I did do that. I knew at the time when it released that it was a mess and a studio mess and it was going to be terrible, so I didn't bother seeing it at the time, the 2017 one. So I saw Zack Snyder's first, and yeah, it was still a bad film to me. But hey, I mean,
Sure, but the third act
was one of the better parts of it, outside of Flash running like an idiot. But yeah, and then I watched the Josh Whedon. I hate people calling it the Justice League. He didn't get to make his film either. His film was supposed to be like an hour and a half longer and be totally different. He got screwed over as well. But anyway, people just want to bury him because of the allegations and him being a prick now. I mean, just like Ray Fisher being a prick too. But anyway, but yeah, it's definitely a lot better than the Josh Whedon one, and I'm sure people rewatching that. You know,
so any other unexpected ones? I've got one more unexpected. I'll save it because I know that other people haven't.
Yeah. Oh, so one more thing. So the Flash getting shot there, despite his speed, was stupid in the third act. I'll say that as well.
Onzo, kind of, but like you can't do anything about the Flash. I mean, you can't. Like he would beat anyone. Like, if you have the Flash's powers,
hold on,
no one can defeat you.
Well, they could have made it as a different scene. They could have done something.
Hold on, I understand it's the Flash, right? But he didn't get shot by a human. He got shot by an alien. So how do we know that they can't, do something to time his speed or something like that? Like
earlier in the film, they showed slow motion scenes with the aliens doing that shit, and he was able to move past some of the speed of light, like everything's in slow motion. But then in that one
he's
scene,
young and he doesn't. No, he's young and he doesn't know his powers because even when the brick is falling, which is also stupid when you think about it. He saves the people from the bricks falling on them, so he's like zipping around, and then he misses one, and you're like, well, if you're that fast, I'm sorry, even if you miss one, you'd still be fast enough to go and get it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene I'm talking about where he's
that was stupid as well.
But
and it's they could have did it where he doesn't
in the end of the day, I'm telling you, you cannot do Superman and the Flash are unbeatable. If you had Superman's powers, nothing, no fucking thing on earth, nothing could defeat you.
Well, no, here's the thing. I'm fine with making them do certain things so to get around it, so it's not overpowering. But I just wanted to stay consistent. They didn't make it stay consistent.
Look, if you want to be realistic about a superhero's powers, the most realistic film is Ghost Rider, and that shows you what would happen if you just stick strictly to what a superhero's powers are and what they can do, and don't veer off and try and give them any kind of obstacles that are a little bit like, that don't make sense to their powers. Because in Ghost Rider, he just defeats everyone immediately. Like the whole film is just like him defeating people because his powers are just ridiculous. What can you do against him? He literally can put a chain around you and just get you to submit to it, right? So I think you have to, in all superhero movies, really, you have to give a little bit of leeway to people just being able to defeat heroes that shouldn't be defeated given certain things.
Yeah, but as long as you make it stay consistent with certain things, they didn't really do that, so that was my issue. But anyway, what was your other?
But it was consistent because he was a young Flash, so he didn't know all his powers.
No, it really wasn't. It's like they do stuff like that in one scene, and then another scene it'd basically be the same thing, but then it doesn't happen like that. It's like at least make it consistent.
All right, I'm not going to we'll talk about this maybe one day off stream because I don't want this to become a whole, Zack Snyder thing. I would say, is there anyone who's got any other surprising third acts of superhero movies that they think are the best? Because I've got a doozy of a one, but I want other people to say first.
Just don't say the Batman.
Well, I'm just gonna say there's some of these I don't want to go into because I just want to list them off quickly, and since we don't want to have like a too long stream, but just might not be in my top 5, but some other ones I just want to give shout outs to. The Logan ending was gut-wrenching. The whole sequence, how it played out overall, wasn't the greatest, but just that whole third act overall in that scene was amazing. And then Batman 89 and with the whole parade and then everything with the Joker does was fantastic. V for Vendetta, probably in my top 5, everything that plays out. And the final fight scene with him, that was amazing. And then... and then the last one that we can discuss a little bit if you want. This will be the last one on my thing. Is even though it's one of the weaker parts of the film, Sin City, because the first story and the third story were masterpieces, and then the second one, which doesn't really count as much as one, but just mostly for filler, was amazing too. Again, this is probably the only comic book movie, at least one of them, that would give
what was the third act? What was the third act of?
Well, it was pretty much like the story of like the cops and stuff as like kind of the third act. But now,
what was the story of the cops? What do you mean the cops? Was it Bruce Willis? Was it Bruce Willis?
No, it was like Clive Owens.
Oh, Clive Owens.
Because here's the thing. Well, it was. I still really enjoy it, but it was the weakest one out of the film. But it was still enough to be a top 5, like at third act for me in a comic book film. And the reason why, what made it so good for me, even though it was the weakest story out of the film, out of all of them, is because after everything we've been through and seen every main character die. It got to the point where you're really at least pushing for one success story. And there were so many moments in it where you thought he was fucked or he was dead. And it was just like super impactful and like on the edge of your seat. And I thought they did a fantastic job at that aspect of it. So
interesting. Anyone else with any comments on those, or anyone else with third act that they want to point out?
No, you're good. What's yours?
Okay.
What's the one you have?
I do have Unbreakable. I have Unbreakable as one of the better third acts of
that's accurate.
Of a comic book movie.
And that's accurate.
I think the twist in that is pretty fucking insane. Like, I did not see it coming, and I feel like a fool for not seeing it coming because it was like fucking telegraphed. But like when Samuel L. Jackson is just like, I fucking did it all. and it completely makes sense to how he's been depicted in the film. I did not. That was pretty shocking. Let's see what Film Elite says. So much happens in Dark Knight Third Act. Dent's transformation, Joker's full ascent to power, Rachel's death, Batman confronting his demons and making the sacrifice to defeat him. Morality monologues. Yeah, we already mentioned the Dark Knight is like that's a gold standard for at least three of us.
Yeah, pretty much three.
Yeah, pretty much three of us. They call me Mr. Glass, exactly. Yeah, that one's a good one. But the controversial one, I have a few controversial. I have two controversial ones specifically. My controversial one is Wonder Woman and Shazam 2. I fucking really like. For me, the Wonder Woman one was maybe a bit personal because, like, I always thought that they, the first Wonder Woman, they kind of try and make a joke out of her morality, out of her, like, being this warrior for love or whatever. And the fact that she just comes out and, like, she's just like with the music and everything, and she just is like, I believe in love, and like. That for me, I was just like, that's Wonder Woman. That's the character I saw in the comics. And I know a lot of people think it's hokey and whatever, but I commend Patty Jenkins and the filmmakers behind it just for not straying away from that aspect of her character and just saying, no, that's her, that's what she'd do, and that's it. So, and also added to that, I thought the Steve Trevor death was fucking powerful. Like, I was literally nearly in tears. So I don't really understand what people have against the third act of Wonder Woman so much. I know Ares was a little bit of a disappointment, but he wasn't that much of a disappointment that you could take away the Steve Trevor sacrifice and, how Wonder Woman reacts to that.
I don't know what Nerman. I think it was this. I think if Ares had better armor, people would have a different look at that scene. Because no one really says because Ares didn't look amazing. He looked okay in that armor of metal and stuff. But as a villain for the movie, his impact and what he was doing behind the scenes up until third act all worked. I think if he had a better look, I guarantee you people it would have a different look. Because when people say Ares was like underwhelmed, but like he wasn't a bad villain. He was not like impactful like Joker. Or I think
he was a pretty bad. There was some problems with him as a villain. There were real problems with him as a villain.
But let me ask: was he bad? Right.
I don't know. I don't think he was the worst. But I think they did. I think the stupid thing they did with Ares was they tried to make it like, oh, who is Ares, and like confuse, and it was like it was obvious. It was obvious. And the first time I saw that dude, I was like, yeah, that's Ares. Like so the surprise wasn't worth keeping him hidden. He should have just been doing all the diabolical shit and then revealed himself at the end to Wonder Woman. I think that would have just worked better. But as for what Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor did in that third act, I loved it. Like her debate with him where she's like, I didn't fucking do anything. Like you guys did this shit. I didn't do anything. Why do I have to do anything? And she's completely like, almost given up on humanity. And then she sees his sacrifice, and then she's like, that's why to believe in humanity. And then she says the line, like, I believe in love. I'm just like, sorry, that's Wonder Woman, dude. If you think that scene's hokey, then that's just you don't like Wonder Woman. Like that's all I can kind of say from it.
Wait, which films are we on now, though?
I know Sean is just being death silence on this one because he knows he's got. But J-Man, what?
So what are we talking about? What, Wonder Woman Part 1?
Yeah, Part 1, third act. So I was saying that it's one of my favorite third acts in a comic book movie, and I don't understand why people harp on about even if I were to give them everything, like, oh, Ares wasn't that cool or whatever, it's still not, that bad in comparison with other third acts of superhero movies. I mean, it's a kind of like, it's the standard hero faces CGI, whatever, monstrosity, but the emotion behind the scene, like with the Steve Trevor sacrifice, is something very different. I don't know that we see that in a lot of superhero movies. Usually they somehow save the love interest and, whatever. And it all played into the theme of the story, the through line of the story, and what she was learning during the movie. So,
yeah, well, that's my favorite DC EU or whatever you call these movies. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't. My only problem with that entire movie is Ares, and it's exactly what you said. It's like, yeah, I know that's Ares. So what's happening? That's the only negative thing. I just wish she would have the blue armor from the comics.
mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, otherwise, I'm like, this movie's awesome. I loved all the characters immediately. I thought the pacing was good. Like, story was good. Everything looked good.
I'm telling you, because I do agree with J-Man. It's really the armor. If
yeah,
has some badass fucking armor, look, because I'm telling you,
and the actor, maybe I think the
actor was fine. It was the armor, dude. I'm telling you, because every
the
time,
mustache.
Every time people in that too, every time people criticize Ares, is always his armor. If the armor was cool, then people like, what else is there to hate?
Not much.
Is nothing else you can really hate. I mean, yeah, his mustache. He did look like he had a porn stash, but
yeah, but I could have disappeared in the armor, right? Like, I mean, all of that could have gone. You had that helmet. The problem is I had the toy of it, right? It's like, this is like a character. I started collecting Wonder Woman with Perez, and that the whole post-crisis. So it's like, that's Ares. I had the statue of that. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna see this in the movie. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like Ares.
Great. Yeah.
But other than that, like, character-wise and story-wise and how it all came together was good. I love that, because, like, I think some people who are, the normies, whatever, were watching and thinking, oh, there is no Ares. What's going on? I'm like, no, there's, like, I'm thinking to my head, I'm like, yeah, there's Ares. They're just going to reveal it to you. So I think it did work with some audience members that didn't really know.
And what do you think of the I can't understand it. Like, it baffles me. Like, some people are going like, oh, the movie would have been better if Ares didn't turn out to be the person behind it, and that movie would have bombed. That people would be talking about Wonder Woman as they talk about Superman Returns. Mm-hmm. If Ares was not in it at the end. So
Superman Returns was highly disappointing. There wasn't any need for Superman. Like, it's like, if it's not Ares, then what is Wonder Woman doing? Like, I've just been rewatching the Linda Carter show, which I love, by the way, and the problem with that show is that all of the antagonists are things that Diana Prince could have probably handled on her own without needing to use any Wonder Woman powers. And it's like, that's the thing, right? Like, you need to look. It's a superhero. You want to have a super villain, man. That's or some sort of, because Wonder Woman is an emotional character, but also a physical character. Like, Batman can get away with something like the Joker because he's investigating and he's like, street level. Wonder Woman needs to have a better threat, of some kind at the end to make it exciting. It's still a comic book, guys. Like, these people making some of these movies are making they're thinking that, like, wow, I'm making the great film that's going to change the world. It's like, dude, okay, hold on. It's a comic book. There needs to be some action, right? There needs to be some fight at the end. Like, it doesn't always have to be a mega battle, but Wonder Woman did a good job of having an emotional thing and a battle. That's why that one was like the best one for me. And yeah, you need to have Ares. If you don't have Ares, and it's not Wonder Woman, that's like a 90s thing where they're like, yeah, let's strip away anything cool and have it more like, just have the hero.
Like, what would she have done?
Right.
She's stopped World War One, or what did they
Right.
want her
like-
to do? I didn't.
Right. What's your
understand that.
substitute? If you don't want that, that's perfect. What's your substitute? Silence. Okay, thanks. So you really
Yeah.
thought this through, didn't you?
Yeah, because you can't really. Yeah, you had to have Ares. Like I said, the only issue people have is the armor and the mustache. Nobody criticizes about Ares,
Yeah.
and even like give him better armor, and that's it.
Yeah,
But
but they say they don't say that. They go the third act was shit, and I'm like,
Right.
Well, that well,
were you emotional during the Steve Trevor sacrifice?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was. They'll say yeah. I was emotional. I'm like, well, that's the third act.
That's the third act. The third act is more than 5 minutes. The third act, that's why I asked earlier, like the third act is not the last fight. The third act is a whole chunk of movie, which is like it's concluding now. And this is what we've been waiting for, right? So it's like your third, you need to have a good middle, you need to have a good first act to get people going. Then the middle act is usually where it's like, okay, now we're kind of just exploring the story in the world. And then the third act's like, yeah, here we go, right?
Yeah, that third act really started after at the party when Wonder Woman's got to go kill Ares. Well,
yeah, okay.
Ares.
Yeah.
That's when the third act kicks in,
Yeah.
and everything up until that point is like good, and then that third act kicking in at that moment, she got the. I thought that thing with the dress was kind of funny.
Yeah, with the sword.
Yeah, the sword.
And nobody sees it. Yeah.
Hey,
Oh man, you know, it's a movie, right?
Yeah.
How come she doesn't use the bathroom? How come she doesn't go use the bathroom ever? Like, I mean,
she had to cushion it through the Wonder Cheek. But other than that, I thought the third act was powerful.
What do we talk about? What do we say about this? Blade still has one of the best third acts. I remember the third act of Blade being pretty sick. Like,
Blade is awesome.
I loved the villain. I think he's one of the most underrated villains as well.
Deacon Frost.
Yeah, Deacon Frost.
I think
he's cold, bro. He's just like, I'm banging your mom.
Yeah, they really upped it. They didn't have to go that far. They really upped it, man. They personalized that thing.
That's personal shit, you know. Like, what you don't say that to a bro. You don't say that to a man. Like, even your edit, unless you're like sure you can fucking kill this guy.
Yeah. Did you know that they changed? They changed the final. So what happened was in Blade, Deacon does become that final form of the tornado of blood, where anything touching the tornado, and it's on the, I don't know if you guys have the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, it's on the Blu-ray. You can watch the alternate ending, and he becomes the tornado of blood, and it's literally a CGI thing, and it could just, like, anything it touches is turned, and you know, so Blade is fighting that thing, and he uses those exploding shots that he had, and they tested it, and the audience didn't like that because they thought that taking away Stephen Dorff's like presence actually diminished it, and it made it a bit silly by having him be this tornado thingy. So they went back and they made it back to where he's just like himself, and he's got the powers. So the final form isn't the physical final form; it's sort of more in him, right? Like when he gets the full powers. Right. So actually, it's an interesting, because that probably was a better idea to change it back. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, no, I think it was a better idea. But
So,
I was
Phil,
going
didn't
to say that. Yeah, no, I was going to answer Phil just after this, but I was going to say that I felt he defeated him a bit easily. That was
because they had to change that.
I was like,
I mean, I thought
this is a bit easy since he's become like a god vampire or whatever. Like, you just kill him like that. Like, that was my only complaint. But going back to it, we did talk about Avengers as one of funnily enough, film elitist, I was the one who mentioned it as one of the best third acts.
It has. It's out of all the Avengers movies, is literally the best third act. Every Avenger, the main six, all get their time to shine. Mm-hmm. Thor, I feel, could have got more, but they all got the time to shine. They all got their respective roles. Thor was up there dealing with the portal, keeping the enemies from coming in. Black Widow was on the ground with Cap. Hawkeye was in the air, on the roofs, doing his thing. So was Iron Man, and Hulk was just the muscle destroying the biggest of this. There was muscle. They all got to do
Mhm.
These guys stole all of my favorite ones, like that I was gonna put before my controversial ones. Like I had Kick-Ass,
yeah.
I had Spider-Man 2, and they stole all of them. What were some of your favorite third acts in a
Does
superhero movie?
Conan count as a superhero movie or no? Short
It
Saga,
does,
Conan?
but I cannot remember for the life of me what happens in the third
That's my
act.
favorite movie of all time. It's my favorite soundtrack. So whenever we get to that, it's my favorite everything of all time. The entire third act,
Yeah.
the entire movie is perfect, and the third act is like super perfect if you watch the director's cut of it. So yeah, that he gets
I watched it when I was young. Funnily enough, at Easter, every Easter it
awesome.
used to come on.
He does get
really
crucified
late at night. Yeah,
he gets crucified. But
that's the
awesome.
one. That's the one with what's the dude who voices
James
Darth
Earl
Vader?
Jones as Thulsa Doom.
Yeah, it's that one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
it. That movie is excellent, but
It's perfect.
the
Beautiful.
ones I've gone back to of Arnold Schwarzenegger during that time are like Running Man and
That's a great movie too.
and what's the one on Mars? The one on Mars.
Oh, Total Recall's a masterpiece. If you read Philip K. Dick's short story, his short story ends before they even go to Mars. He just gets reimplanted, and the alien. It's about aliens. It's like the aliens don't attack because he remembers or whatever. You're like, okay. I'm like, the entire movie, basically from when he goes to Mars, and the rest of that entire movie is all the Paul Verhoeven and his team. The Philip K. Dick story is a short story. It's 16 pages. You can read it in a bathroom break. It's like it's very quick, and so they added a lot to that movie. But yeah, Conan's my favorite. I like Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve. I like, the battle. I like that he brings them out of Metropolis back to the fortress where he has set up certain traps to kind of mess with them. I like how he outsmarts them by having them lose their powers. It's like it shows that Superman can beat someone using intelligence as well. He doesn't need to use like a powerful.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's what I loved about that film.
And if only they did that in Wonder Woman, but
So
that's one thing. That's one thing I will criticize Wonder Woman for. It's like I don't like when superheroes, even if they're very powerful, beat the bad guy just through brute force.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing Wonder Woman was known for, wasn't it? Like outsmarting, thinking of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, well, it's a trope of all superheroes. It's like or even all heroes, because you're always up against the unbeatable monster.
Well,
right. So, or the unbeatable force. And so everything's against you, and you have to kind of try and think of a way. And that's what takes me to two of my other favorite superhero endings, or third acts, which is Morbius, obviously. No, Shazam 1 and 2. Because in both of those, he beats the villains, not just by brute force, but he has to come up with a kind of strategy or a plan. And what makes that even more impactful is that all through he's so incompetent, all through the rest of the movie he's so incompetent, but they make a believable way that he somehow strategizes his way to beating them through thinking about like what a way to defeat them. And obviously it's got the Shazam family like for the first time, which was just like I don't know why I wasn't in tears. Yeah, I because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I wasn't that shocked because as soon as I knew that Darla and Eugene and all of those guys were in it, then I was they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. But
I didn't think they'd get the powers. That was I think in part one, that was my shock. I'm like, and they all get. I was like, oh shit, they're like that's shocking because in the comic books they had been around now for a bit, and you saw them in the movie. You're like, okay, I see they're going with modern Shazam, not old Captain Marvel. And it's like, okay, they got the kids. You're like, were they getting the powers? Like, oh shit, they got the powers. Like, you know what? Go for it. And I like what I like about Shazam 1 is the let's go for it attitude. It's like these characters in the comic, screw it, give them the powers. Let's have a fight at the end. I like that. It's like the Dick Tracy, Warren Beatty film. Put every villain Dick Tracy's ever had in one movie. It's like, okay, it's like just go for it. What if there's never another Shazam movie? Let's put everybody in that we possibly can. I like
there may well never be. So
there will not be another one.
I'm glad to So I'm glad they put everything I wanted in it. They had him
Yeah.
called the Captain Marvel. They had
Yeah.
the old Shazam in there.
Right.
That's
The
why-
old like actor.
That's why a lot of, even though I get criticized, but then I accept it because it was such a good shock and it came. I liked it, the Shazam family thing. You look at the third act, you look at how Billy was presented. Mind you, this was based off of New 52 Billy Shazam, which
Right.
a lot of people don't like New 52. Hopefully, the DCU doesn't adapt a New 52 ever again, so we don't got to deal with that shit. But I thought it made sense for the family to be there because if I'm looking at how Billy was established in that movie, he had no real fighting skills and stuff, and it wouldn't really make like you're really gonna wonder how he's gonna defeat the 7 deadly sins, who've been around for centuries and years by himself. Where he's at, he wasn't training in the movie. The wizard was gone, and as he said in the second movie, like he even acknowledged that he had no training. He doesn't really know what he's doing because the wizard just up and turned ashes. So the Shazam family showing up worked in that because he did need help. I mean, he was not a good fighter.
Mm.
So it made sense on that and for the whole family to get their powers at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask what's your favorite third acts in like MCU movies? Because I'm struggling, and I'm not trying to like troll or anything. I'm just struggling to.
Winter Soldier third act, Civil War third act.
Yeah.
Even though the CGI was shitty, Black Panther 1 third act.
Yeah. I mean, Infinity War and Civil War would be two of mine, I guess.
Okay, Infinity War and Civil War definitely.
Yeah, I like Winter
Civil
Soldier.
War.
I'm not gonna lie, I did
Civil
like the
War is
Shang-Chi
good.
third act. I like the Shang-Chi third act. I fucked with it.
Yeah. Honestly,
Civil
even
War is a good one because
Yeah,
between Captain America
yeah.
and
Man.
thanks for reminding me of that one. That
yeah.
would be
Okay. Honestly,
that's-
even though the films
that
weren't
was a
very
big-
good overall, and it wasn't exactly what people wanted. Yeah, I agree with K-Dot, Shang-Chi, but also I actually kind of think the Iron Man 3 third act is kind of fun. I know people wanted like a darker third Iron Man and they wanted like a different spin, and it wasn't a perfect film by any means, but I do think like looking back on it, there was a lot of great moments I did with like Iron Man and the suits and sort of very stylistic and with
Yeah.
that.
I don't know if I could put like Iron Man 3. It's hard. For
I
me
hate
to-
Pepper Potts. I despise that character. I can't stand Gwyneth Paltrow, and I just can't stand that she's in that and she saves
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I hate Gwyneth Paltrow, but again, there's a lot of issues. I'm just saying, like, the action in that, I think and with the suits and everything, I thought was
They look
creative.
cool.
Yeah.
But
thought it was
it's funny,
creative enough.
like I hear radio silence almost apart from KDOS. Like, does it like maybe is
What?
because maybe it's the build-ups in MCU movies that are better? Because I'm even
Yeah.
thinking of the
Yeah,
movie,
it's
the
Yeah, like
movies
Guardians didn't have a
that
great
I
third act.
like, the movies that I like, and I'm thinking of the third acts. Like even one that there's two that I defend a lot that I think for some reason MCU fans don't like, which is Black Widow and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think those are two really good ones. Now,
I like
Um,
Multiverse and I hate Black Widow, so it's weird.
Yeah,
I loved Multiverse.
It is.
I hated Black Widow. Yeah,
It's mainly the first
But-
and second act in them. Yeah,
but-
like
but yeah, I love the family aspect to Black Widow. I thought that was done really well. But
but it's like an old
Um,
man. She defeats him by smashing her face into a table. Like Black Widow's an action character. Like it's just disappointing. She didn't fight Taskmaster very well. It was like a crummy Taskmaster. Oh, we're going to convince it to
But
be.
some of the
good-
choreography in that movie was actually pretty fucking good, though.
It-
I mean,
when
like, the fight
Taskmaster fought Black
choreography.
Widow in the first act, I was like, "Oh hell yeah, here we go!" And then it was just like,
Yeah.
boom, it's like down. It's like they
Yeah,
just
it went
got-
downhill.
Mhm.
It went
Yeah.
downhill after that.
yeah, no, I agree with that though, Nerdman. The family aspect is the best part of it, but the rest
Yeah.
of it is
the only good part.
Yeah.
There's something else good.
But but I'm trying to think is the the multiverse, but certainly the third act isn't my favorite part of Black Widow.
I mean,
But like,
did you like the third act? And
Multiverse of Madness, I think, has a pretty decent third act.
I hated that third act.
Did you? Oh, okay. I thought it was sweet and with the mother and stuff like that, and the way they got Chavez to fulfill her arc, and like she realizes, hey, I can't beat her by fighting her, but I
didn't really like that. I wanted it to be purely Doctor Strange figures out a way. Like he doesn't tell Chavez like, oh, you're the one. I know you're the only one who can defeat her, but this is how you defeat her. I wanted him to figure out some spell that he uses. He casts from his own hands and defeat her. Like himself. I wanted.
Yeah, they didn't do it well.
I didn't hate America Chavez. I liked her in the movie, but she should have just stayed her little damsel self, damsel in distress. I was okay with that. You know, she was this girl that really didn't know what she was doing. She hopped from universe to universe, had no training, can't fight. Let her stay that, and then in the future, when you build her up, she becomes more useful.
I mean, you know, why they did
that was trash, man. Doctor Strange gets cocked out of his own movie by a teenager and a psychosis.
But he
Game of Thrones.
I don't think that he does. I don't think
he does.
Yeah, it is a Doctor Strange movie, and then he does save the day because every other Doctor Strange and Wong also, every single person in that movie keeps saying, you have to take her powers away from her. You have to save the day. You have to do this. And he's like, every time someone's attempted that, it has failed. The best way to do it is for me to help her to control her powers. And it's through his action that the end is accomplished. It's not through his inaction. That's where the differences are. Like, if someone else actively comes up with a plan and then executes that plan and it's not Doctor Strange, then I would say Doctor Strange didn't win. Like even in the first one, he literally thinks, okay, you know what? If I just keep repeating time, Dormammu's going to get pissed off and just let it be, right? It's like he's still in acts. He comes up with an idea and makes that happen. And yes, the instrument is America Chavez, but it's not like she's like, I got this, Doctor Strange. You sit down and I'll do that. That's not what happens at all. She's completely out of her element. She gets inspiration through his and his alone, through his own, like, you know, enthusiasm for her or whatever, right? Because everyone else keeps saying, no, you got to. Even Wong. Wong is wrong in that. He's like, no, Doctor, you got to do this. And he's like, no, I'm not. It is Doctor Strange's movie. He wins through her, yes. But and Cole was about to say why, and we all know why. They, you know, you're forced to use America Chavez for whatever reasons, right? They did it in the best way that they possibly could while still maintaining.
If they just did it where it made more sense for her to be in like the final fight with her instead of the reason Kevin Feige did, where then it just felt lazy and just a cop out. It's like, okay, but they didn't. And I mean, the way you explained it was better than the story writers actually did. If they actually did it, if I actually did it and explained it in the way you just did in that film, then it would be good. They didn't. It was literally just a cop out. Like, oh yeah, no, you do it because I don't know, fuck it. Just be more female empowerment.
I don't believe Doctor Strange was cut out of his ending. I just don't like. I wanted it to be him, but also in the third act, like when he comes in, right? He does.
I've written something in the private message, guys.
He does. Okay, he does that badass spell where he ghost walks through. Well, he dream walks through his zombie string. But then I was like, okay, like what else he gonna? Oh, it's gonna be Zombie Strange versus Wanda. He gonna come with these evil dark spells and stuff, and I'm like, oh, nothing. All he did was fly. Like that's my thing. I was like, he just flew to the. I was like, okay.
He had a cape of like demons. There's like a lot of cool shit in that third act, man. It's like
that was cool. I think
I'm not saying that wasn't cool.
And for something that was like so CG,
right?
For something that was so CGI heavy. For once, it actually looked really beautiful.
Yeah,
the multiverse. So, like Sam Raimi knew what he was doing. With the CGI as opposed to some other things.
And fighting with musical notes. Exactly.
Cool.
That was so cool.
It was very unique visually in that movie as well.
That was my favorite part. Yeah, and the zombie strange stuff in the third act was great. I just didn't like the final fight scene there.
Yeah. I think people dismiss that movie without actually. I think that one was a product of people being tired of the MCU stuff, the wokeness stuff, and they're just like, they took it out on Doctor Strange. That movie, I personally love the movie, but even if you don't love it, you still have to admit that there's a lot of cool visual elements. Doctor Strange is doing a lot of magic use. Like, if you look back to the old movies, I just recently purchased the original Doctor Strange 70s TV movie. It's like nothing happens, right? It's like this Doctor Strange is using his magic all the time. He doesn't even just put on his cape. It's like whoosh, it comes on. It's like everything he does revolves around magic. It's the first time CGI is used in a way that makes it cooler and doesn't take you out of a story. It draws you into the world of what's going on. You're like, wow, this is a magical place where everything has something special. I don't know. I think it's cool. All the other MCU movies you're faced for are trash, though.
Yeah, like Strange is like, I think what hurts the movie more for me is Wanda specifically. I liked her as a menacing force.
I love Wanda.
She was that, but her plan, her whole plan, I thought that was bad. I was like, huh, okay, all right, whatever.
Is there a plan to find the children? Find the children?
Yeah, I mean, her plan to find, like, that was no issue with her wanting to have the kids and stuff. But I thought what would have been better was her trying to put a hex around the whole planet that she's on, and then Doctor Strange trying to keep her from doing that. Like, okay, she wants to have her kids, because if she want to hop to another universe, we already seen she can with if she took those abilities. Her plan isn't really going to work. How is she going to? Because she's not going to forcibly mind control the kids.
No, she's going to just literally take the place of her other self. That's her. That's basically her plan. It's like Jet Li the One, remember, where he was killing all the versions of himself and then acquiring their abilities. That's a cool movie that nobody talks about, but anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked Wanda. People getting upset at Wanda.
Yeah, I didn't dislike her.
You liked WandaVision. Oh no, Wanda.
I did like WandaVision.
Oh, you did?
I did like WandaVision, and I liked Wanda I liked Wanda in
this. That's where me and you.
That's fine. But first of all, the white.
I didn't finish it. First of all,
okay.
So I should mention that.
Well, you didn't see White Vision. Like, I grew up thinking Vision was white. That was my Vision. I have every West Coast Avengers issue with that. I've got an entire Vision thing there. It's like and when I saw the White Vision, I was like, oh my God, this is the Vision that I've been dying to see. And I've got the little character right here. So, and I got Wanda too. So
no,
I loved it.
I didn't see that, but I see these movies as individuals, so I didn't really connect it to WandaVision or anything like that. So when I saw Multiverse of Madness, I was just like, wow, she's a great villain. She's one of the better MCU villains, right? As far as I'm concerned.
The reason I mentioned it is that people were, one of the complaints was like, oh, it's like strong woman, villain, it's all about her. First of all, every movie is about the villain. Superheroes are reactionary. The villain comes, then the hero, has to stop them. That's number one. Number two, Wanda. It was just they just got this female character, threw in a movie and made her super powerful, except that she was tortured and lost her family by Hydra. Forced to have all these powers, lost her brother in front of her, lost the only person she loved in front of her, then literally went crazy from the Darkhold, then became a villain. It's like, this was the biggest buildup of a villain I've ever seen in any film franchise of any kind. And they're like, oh, Wanda's just thrown in there because she's a strong woman. She's had 5 movies developing this villain character. Everyone knew she was going to be the villain.
Oh, really? I don't think. Wait. Let me say something. Just okay, Doctor. I think that's bullshit, because there's no way until WandaVision you would have felt like she was becoming a villain. I'm not saying she's becoming a villain. I'm saying she's lost so much. Then she loses her kids in WandaVision. It's like she lost her family. And she lost, or basically, she was forced to do stuff. Then she lost her brother, then her husband, then her kids. So it's it's a lot of loss. Didn't they lose stuff?
Not as much as
Hawkeye and Thor lost stuff. Why,
But then she got the Darkhold. Right, but the Darkhold took. But you didn't watch WandaVision. The Darkhold.
That's why, sure.
Right. Took all, and the thing is, it's like you can say, let's look at these movies in a vacuum, and you can. But the problem is that that's not the way they're presenting these things anymore, right? Like,
Yeah, sure.
like this is the company.
It's
I can
just
watch
my,
anything
it's
in a
my
vacuum.
habit of watching that I just watch them in a vacuum. K dot, sorry, man.
Okay, and I did want to now just a real quick example. WandaVision, at the beginning, she does take on the villainous role. Like she chooses to be that, and then the Darkhold like enhances it and made it worse. But from jump, she does choose to go down the villainous route by being so selfish. But let me, because this is why I really meant to say it, and this is why the MCU kind of needs to make this more clear. Because look at comic Wanda. She can speak and take away all the X-Men's powers. Right now in the MCU, she is very powerful. Right,
but depowered.
But see, okay, because this is my biggest thing. She could have just made kids whenever she wanted to. Like she could have made kids out of thin air.
She did. She kind of did in WandaVision, and then she
like,
realized that those kids did exist in a parallel universe. So she wants to find them.
This is what I was saying about superhero films. Like at a certain point, you have to realize there are characters, if you want to see on screen, that are so powerful that you have to give them awkward limitations.
Right. Even Thanos.
Because, well, Thanos was ridiculous.
The Infinity Stones could do anything.
I don't want to go into it, but that's what I'm saying. Like the
better not.
That
I mean, I seen
but
better.
I'm saying
than Thanos.
like look, Flash with all of Thanos' Infinity Stones would fucking beat Thanos. You know, if this was reality and Flash could do what he could do, and he had all of those Infinity Stones, unless he had a Speed Stone or something like that.
Well, he has time. The second he feels a punch, he freezes time, rewinds it, and makes that guy who punched him not exist.
Sure, but you have to think and do that first.
But he's got the Mind Stone, so that makes him think better.
Which versions are we talking about? MCU? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
All right, sure, maybe Thanos isn't the best example, but you know what I'm saying? Yes. In general, you take any person and you put them against somebody with the powers of Flash, and that's it, you're done. There's no fucking beating him. It's the same with Superman. If you want to depict those characters in any semblance of a reality, you have to give some kind of artificial, you can depower them, but there were certain characters, if you depower them, then they're not really the character. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't depower Flash. No, but then he's shit. That's the thing. He's trash. Now he's trash. That's how you did what they did with Hulk.
Is I was Superman. You
can't
take away. Because remember the New 52 when they tried to take away some of his abilities, and he like kind of got Captain America level powers. It's like, what the fuck is this? He's riding on a motorcycle.
Superman, you kind of can depower a bit. I think you could get away with doing Superman.
You can maybe take away one ability.
Not even one ability. I just think he doesn't have to be strong enough. He doesn't have to be strong enough to push planets. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He could be really, really, really strong, right? And he could fly fast, and he could have laser vision, and he could blow things. But he doesn't have to have, like, I can blow out the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I think when you take Superman to that level, then it is like you can't think of any obstacles. But certainly Flash, he's not Flash if he doesn't speed to the point that he can, travel through time and do all of the crazy shit he can do. That's just it. Fundamentally isn't Flash anymore. So if you want Flash, and Hulk is the same, he fundamentally is not Hulk if you just make him strong. He has to get stronger the angrier he gets. Right. Otherwise the concept loses all fucking meaning.
Well, they could do the Mr. Fix-It style where he's more in charge of his emotions or whatever.
Who wants to see that? Everyone wants to see the fucking Hulk.
I love Grey Hulk.
People want to see Rage Hulk. You're the one
Well-
who wants to see Grey Hulk, but everyone wants to see Rage Hulk.
Well, do what I
And I'm
want.
just saying.
I'm clearly the smartest audience member they've got. So like, do what I.
Sure.
Look, think about it. Joe Fixit Hulk. He's wearing a suit. You know, he's a leader of a gang.
That's cool, man.
No, don't want to see that. No.
Oh,
But
who's saying? Who's saying?
I was saying that the if you want to see a realistic version of you give the superhero his full powers and don't set up like these artificial kind of obstacles for them to face that don't really make sense to their power sets. You want to see that movie? Go watch Ghost Rider 2.
Ghost Rider 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie.
If anyone's
Spirit
seen
of Vengeance?
Ghost Rider 2,
I saw it in the theater and have it on Blu-ray.
Garbage.
Wait
Yeah,
a
I
minute.
saw it
Okay,
in the theaters.
wait. Since we're real quick, last team, you gotta go. Ghost Rider 1 or 2. Which one has a better third act?
Neither. I don't. I got.
I can't remember them. I can't remember them.
The first is obviously a better film, but now the second has a better third act. Am I wrong?
All I remember.
I think I agree. I agree
all-
with that statement.
Yeah, and actually, I did not mind. Okay, it is a poorly made film, but here's the thing with Ghost Rider 2. So the directors of it, they made many stuff like Frank, lots of stuff like Frank and whatnot, and yeah, they knew that nobody really cared about it, and it was kind of stupid. And they had Nicolas Cage, so what they did was they purposely made just a sloppy, batshit crazy, just guilty pleasure film, and while it's still a poorly made film, it kind of worked. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
No, it was not. I'm sorry.
It was.
There was
It
nothing
was.
entertaining
That
about
that scene with the
Ghostbusters.
motorcycle doing the wheelie was cinema with the kid.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Which one are you talking about? Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that film. I don't care what anyone
You
says.
too?
I think it's funny as shit.
It's
I
schlock. That's why.
That
It's just a schlock movie, that's
Mephisto
fine.
in the movie was tight. That was a dope. He didn't look like Mephisto, but that was a dope Mephisto. That actor, it was still alive. That should be.
All I remember is what's his name? What's the main actor?
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage wiling out. Like he hasn't wild out that much since that like Beehive scene or whatever. Man.
Oh,
Like, he
please do
was-
not mention the Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man, when he was transforming into fucking into Ghost Rider, I was like, "What the fuck
Yeah,
am I
it was
watching
great.
right now?"
It
It
was
was
great.
amazing. I was
Yeah,
like, "This guy's
these Ghost Rider films did like the crazy B movie Nicolas Cage stuff
Yeah.
first. They knew.
Agents of Shield did Ghost Rider better.
Sure, I'm not. No one's
Yeah,
denying
we're not
that.
talking about like quality
I-
level.
I-
Of course,
I-
they're not
I-
good.
I think my grandmother did Ghost Rider better. And she didn't even like. Do you know what I'm saying? She didn't even know who he was.
But I'm talking everything. I'm talking the transformation, his car, like everything is better from the Agent of
Sure.
Ghost Rider.
Sure, I agree. There's no doubt in my mind that's the case. I've seen a couple of clips of it because I can't get through that show. But I like Ghost Rider as a concept, so I wanted to see like the Ghost
Yeah,
Rider
it's the new
bits, and
Ghost Rider, the newest one with the
they
car.
You got to watch
were
that
good.
show. It gets better. It gets really good after.
I
season
liked it a
two,
lot,
yeah.
and it does get a lot. It actually gets a lot better, a lot quicker than other
Yeah.
shows. You people always say shows get better, but this one literally changes its entire sort of like structure where it becomes more like aliens and supernatural stuff, and you know Ghost Riders in it. And I mean, it was my wife loves the show, but like I like the show a lot. Especially the last like 2 or 3 seasons, I think.
I just couldn't get through the first.
I agree.
Season. I really.
I'll just say this: as a person who did not want to give Agents of Shield a chance, I tuned in when Ghost Rider tuned in, and I left when Ghost Rider left. I just watched season 4. It was season 4, right, when he came in?
I don't remember
I believe so, yeah.
that actor was
Yeah.
at my comic
I
shop.
just watched season 4.
Maybe I'll do that one day, but like I just watched the Ghost Rider
Oh,
clips,
damn it,
and
he's
I
in the
was
last
like,
one.
oh, that's kind of
He's
tight.
in
I was like, yeah, that is kind of tight. Like still, like
It's
The way
funny
they
because
depicted
even
him.
the first, I'm saying even the first season, I wasn't feeling it until the middle of the season. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. But then when season 2 started, that's when I really started to be like, yo, this show's good. And then season 3, it was just like, okay, now Agents of Shield is fire. So I'm like your wife. I really love the show.
Underrated comic book TV show, the 1990 Flash TV show with John Wesley Shipp. I tried to watch that and it was a little bit. I've still not been. Flash is my fourth favorite superhero, and I still to this day have never been able to watch any live action Flash. I can't get into the TV show.
Oh, it's pissed right now.
Season 1 and 3, and that's it. Stop it.
I can't get into the old one. I'm hoping 3's the charm with this new Flash movie.
No,
because 3 times the charm. Because like
the Flash,
I swear to God, man.
No, this season of the Flash, horrible is not enough. It's the absolute dumbest thing ever. It's the writing has transcended from being cheesy, because I could take cheesy writing. It's transcended into bad. Cecile leaves her family. She leaves her daughter to visit her on weekends to hang out with these idiots. It's like, we don't need you. You do nothing. All she does is state the obvious. I sense that there's something wrong with this person. Yeah, I sense it too. The guy's a fucking villain. I sense that. I don't have powers, and I can sense that. I hate characters. Deanna Troy's like this in Star Trek. They sense things that the audience already knows. I sense this villain is a villain. Yeah, I got it. I know that. Brutal. Yeah. Anyways.
So, here's the thing. Guys, I know I was going to do the soundtracks and themes of superheroes, but we may have to do that tomorrow because of Mrs. Nerdman. But and yeah, you can all come and pile on right now. But yeah, so I will be doing the themes and soundtracks tomorrow, and I think that's going to be like a fun one. I think maybe a bit earlier.
In this relationship.
Okay.
I knew. I was waiting. For
there was actually one thing I wanted to. There was one thing I wanted to actually ask you, Herman. Would you consider 30 Days of Night and Ichi the Killer as comic book films or no?
I haven't seen either of those. I should have seen Ichi the Killer because I like it. That's a South Korean film, right? I really like those. Oh, is that Japanese? Okay. Ichi should have given it away. Fucking hell. But yeah, I haven't seen either of those. I know 30 Days of Night, and that's Josh Hartnett, who I think is supremely underrated.
You should watch that. It's a real vampire movie. It was the last real vampire movie ever made, just for the record of everybody. Because the vampires were villains and assholes. And I was actually like, not where it's cool to be a vampire, they're assholes. And I wanted them to die. And it was awesome. And it was brutal and scary.
Yeah, it was sort of like The Thing, but with vampires.
Yes, it's the thing that's it. That's what it is, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. And is Josh Hartnett a vampire, or is he like the
he's the good guy. He's not the vampire.
He's just their human or whatever.
Because Josh Hartnett is like, yeah, like I don't know why he didn't get bigger. I thought he was really cool as an actor.
He did 30 Days a Night, and then that was it. No.
He did which one?
I said the same thing with Brendan Fraser when he went through all those injuries and his.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser was also great. Like, there was a few guys from the 90s who just like whimpered out, like, and it's just like, it's sad because I felt like they had something. Even Ryan, what's his name? Ryan. I don't know. Like he was in. Again, I don't know. I'm gonna find it out.
Trying to say Ryan Gosling?
No, Ryan Gosling's still around.
You're talking about someone who's Ryan that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
Ryan.
You can figure it out first.
Ryan Philip? No.
Felipe. There we go.
Yeah, there. Yeah, I just saw Ryan 90s actor, and it popped up. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Wasn't he in Was he in that? What was that step or what was that movie where the powers? It was a one-word movie. Was he in that?
Life form.
Hold on.
One.
Oh yeah, Crash. Jeez.
Oh yeah, he was
Yeah.
in Crash. That was bad.
Yeah,
though.
Franklin, Isolated, Glide. Yeah.
Crash was,
Crash
pretty
was
bad.
an interesting movie.
Wait, you're not talking about the David Cronenberg one, right? Because that's a great movie. You're talking about that crappy
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock one.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
awful. I threw up in the theater. No, did I throw? No, I didn't go to the theater for that. Because no, I did go see that in the theater. And I threw up in the theater.
Yeah.
Wait, we're talking about the one with Zoe Saldana, right? Where the cop harassed her.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, the good one. The good
No,
one.
that's not the good one. What are you talking about? The David Cronenberg is the
with-
good one.
The one
Oh,
with
wait,
the
wait,
rat.
no, never mind. No. I meant the Cronenberg. I got them mixed up. Fuck.
Oh, by the
Jesus
way,
Christ.
I want to know something, Onzo. Who won your boxing tournament? Because it should be the Great White Hype. Should have been the
No,
Great White
it
Hype
was-
or Raging Bull.
It was oh my lord, I don't remember. Who won, Cole?
It was $1 Million Baby. It was that and
Yeah.
Undisputed in the finals, and then
Was number
Southpaw
2, yeah.
and
Oh,
Southpaw and Rocky 3 were bronze. So
Wait, Rocky
Yeah.
3 lost something to $1 Million Baby. That's impossible.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
it is.
That,
With
that, that's
Mr.
a
T?
that's a physical impossibility.
You're talking about the one with Mr. T. Mr. T is
Yes.
fucking.
Mr.
dope
T is the
in that
greatest
movie.
human being of all time,
Yeah.
or one of them.
The
I
finals
agree.
have been
I just don't like the
Raging
fact
Bull.
that he gets beat up by Rocky.
Raging
That's
That's
because it's a
true.
movie. He let him win at the end. He realized that Rocky was morally right. or
No,
whatever.
he's right. He's right. When Rocky beats him, that's bullshit. And I was
Yeah, no,
like,
that
I
was
was,
dumb.
I was so
And-
into the movie. Until
And here's another thing, there, man.
fuck this
Every
movie.
other Rocky fight goes about 12 rounds. The one with Mr. T only goes 3 rounds. I hate that shit.
Oh, but that's because he's supposed to be Tyson, right? I think they modeled him after Tyson. Was Tyson around back then when they did Rocky 3?
I don't think so.
I don't
no.
think
not
so.
Or was it
Yeah, I
before
don't think so.
Tyson?
It was
It was
before.
Because I thought he was supposed to be like Tyson, like, you know, one of those ones who
Tyson.
goes like 3-4 rounds and just knocks you out. Because
Tyson would do like one round. I used to stay up to watch those.
He knocks Rocky out in what, 2
Oh,
rounds? or
very
something?
fast.
In the first,
Very
yeah, but
fast.
he does that because Rocky's trainer died and Rocky wasn't
If,
in his
if,
right
if
mind.
the movie ended there, where he knocks him out in the first, it would be one of my
it would be the
favorite
best
movies
movie
of all
ever.
time.
Facts. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, you know.
You're getting into a glimpse into the black perspective.
No, that
Everyone likes
was a
Mr.
great
T. I have a
answer.
Mr. T bobblehead. I have a Clubber Lang bobblehead right there. You can barely see him. I love Clubber
it,
Lang.
but they make an excuse like Rocky lost because his trainer died and he wasn't in his
Yeah,
right
exactly,
mind, and
all
that's
that.
why he lost. You know what I mean? Not because
Yeah.
Clubber
But he
Lang
wasn't
was good
training
enough to
properly.
beat him. Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know. But that's
Clubber
what I'm
Lang
saying.
came for a fight, right? That was the whole reversal. Like Apollo was like, "Yeah, I got this" in part 1, you know, and it's like, "Shit, this guy
Well-
surprised me." Kind of got, you know, and that and
Mhm,
Clubber
mhm.
Lang's like, "Look, I'm here to win matches.
No,
I'm not here to
I
take
feel this-
photographs and pose with people."
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah. No, I feel the same about 3 and 4 though. It's like those guys were animals. There's no
Dolph Lundgren's a
way-
monster.
No way Rocky should have beat either of them. Like, quite
I agree.
frankly, it's like
Mhm.
this guy killed a dude in the ring, and then
Mhm.
goes, if he dies, he
He
dies.
dies. He
You know what I'm
killed the
saying?
dude and got away with it. That's how dangerous he is. He
The
killed a
guy
dude in
was
front
on,
of
like,
television and got away with it.
Hey, listen,
he was
he
on
bruised
wasn't he
Stallone's
on
heart
horse
during-
steroids? He was on horse steroids, wasn't he? Or some shit like that.
they didn't make it clear, but in real life, they went a couple of rounds. Like Stallone thought he was, you know, tough, and he's like, "Do you want to go a couple of rounds just actually hitting?" And but buddy Dolph Lundgren hit him so hard he fell out of the ring and bruised his heart. They had to stop production because his heart was bruised because he hit him so hard. And Dolph Lundgren's like, "Shit, I thought we were going at it, you know, a little bit for real." It's like, Stallone, listen, just because you're ripped doesn't mean anything. It's like
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren's a monster.
That's exactly what would happen, and that's why I like the Great White Hype. Because
Oh, that movie's a classic. I was angry when that movie got knocked out. I ain't even gonna lie, nerd man. I'm like, how do you
Okay,
guys?
and I was
knock out
angry
the
with that
Great
fucking
White Hype?
Raging Bull. I'm sorry, I thought it couldn't get worse with that Karate Kid shit. How the original lost to the Jaden Smith, but then you
That's
voted
outrageous.
Real Steel over Raging Bull. Are you
Absolutely.
What is this?
100%.
Are you allowing the public to vote? That's your mistake.
No,
Don't
no,
allow
no, no,
public
no.
to vote.
The public
No,
only votes when we have a tie, but the rest of it is us. We
as
picked Real Steel over Raging Bull. I'm sorry.
Are you guys crazy? I like Real Steel, but that seems
Yeah, I
a bit
like Real
crazy.
Steel, but what the fuck?
That seems
Yeah.
outrageous. I haven't seen Raging Bull since like film.
Yeah, I said
school, like 20 years
it's
ago.
like picking Iron Man 1 over fucking Taxi Driver. It's like
wait,
Right.
wait, you did Real Steel. Which one's Real Steel? Is that the robots fighting?
yeah.
Yeah, the robots
Yeah.
rock 'em, sock 'em.
Oh, that's quite
Yeah.
good though. That movie. That's a
But it's not Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
movie.
Raging Bull.
It
No,
ain't
but-
even Rocky 4 or 5. Really, it ain't even Rocky 5 out.
Oh, I'd give it over Rocky 5. I'd give
No
it over
way.
a lot of the Rocky movies, man.
Real Steel
Oh,
over
Real
any
Steel?
of the Rockies? No way.
A lot of
yeah.
those Rocky movies are a little
Yeah, I agree.
overrated, bro.
Oh
A lot
my
of those
god.
Rocky movies are a little not teeny overrated, like the Rocky movies. I mean,
Oh.
it's
They are.
especially like the first one is like Oscars. You got Oscar nominated. I'm
Mhm.
like, get the fuck out of here with that shit,
Yeah, no,
man. Like,
it's
like,
because the reason why it happened, Norman, was because of the time. Like after everything that was going on in that time frame, they just wanted a uplifting film. That's why it won all those Oscars and Best Picture and over Taxi Driver. It's
Nerdman,
just the
you know why?
time.
You know why it was? Because at the time, black boxers were tearing it up in real life. So they had to make this movie where this white boxer comes in and handles his own against a champion. And it's like, yes, Oscar,
He doesn't
that's
win,
it. That's
though.
how it should be.
He doesn't win though.
I mean, would you consider him white, or does he have some like?
No,
Well, he's
Italian. No, I don't know.
Italian,
Italian, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I knew what time it was. When
I thought
was
he had
watching
some
it.
Aboriginal. And,
Even
Maybe
as
it's
a even as a kid, Gonzo, I knew what time it is when I was watching those movies. I was
Oh,
like, look,
absolutely.
dude,
Absolutely.
this is like some high fiction, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
I've watched Star Wars. I've watched all of this
but he
shit.
didn't win. He didn't win.
This is real fiction, like right here, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My dad used to tell me all the time, why you watching them goddamn Rocky movies? Just to watch a white man beat up on the black people. My dad hated them. He hated them. He
Oh
would
my
not watch
God.
Rocky movies.
No, but Apollo. Okay, but Apollo Creed helps him. So therefore, it's a black savior movie instead of a white savior.
yeah,
movie.
more like some guy getting
Oh,
fucking lynched
and
by a
helps-
Russian.
But here's the thing. He's a black
Creed
man
get tools.
who helps
get-
him beat another black man. So it's self-hate over there. You know what I
Okay, you got me.
And then he gets killed in the fourth
Yeah,
movie.
but it's
You
like,
know
it's
what
like
I
he
mean?
said it fucking
But
sent
that was
him in
just-
there to get lynched. Fuck.
Oh my god.
mean? Pretty much.
No, but that's because that was Russia versus. Listen, they literally have the credits where it's the Russian boxing club versus the American boxing club, and it explodes. So that was a whole different
Oh,
propaganda piece.
That was. I think that's the best Rocky movie.
I love
honestly.
Rocky IV, so I don't know.
Number 3, has some slow. Is that the one with the robot? Right.
Yes, but they did a
Nobody
director's
is
cut where they re-edited a lot of that film and
And
kind of
took out the-
removed
yeah.
some of the cheesy stuff. But
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
both Rocky Fours, even the old one.
Yeah, Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 are my favorite though.
Me
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I never seen the editing one yet, though. The edited one.
But I
It's
haven't
fine.
seen it. I haven't seen any of the Creed movies because
I liked both Creed. I didn't see 3. I'm gonna buy it, but I like Creed 1 and Creed 2. I like Michael Jordan. I think he's a really good
Michael
actor. I like
B.
this
Jordan.
guy who's Kang, Jonathan Majors. Is that it?
Yeah,
He's the
Jonathan
villain or the villain or the antagonist of 3. He's a good actor. I like, I know there's some allegations now, but anyway, but I like him as an actor. So I'm looking forward to Creed 3. So
Yeah, I have to watch Creed 3, but I haven't seen the first 2, so I don't know.
no,
if it's
I
gonna
like
make-
them. I thought they were cool.
I don't know if it's going to make sense to me just running.
It's
going
okay,
straight into
probably.
Creed 3. But yeah, like but realistically, Raging Bull should have won. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't really see an argument for how Raging Bull doesn't win Best Boxing Movie. Like if I'm going with my head, if I'm going with my heart, it's fucking Great White Hype. I think I've never been like, because I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Jay.
I have not seen Great White Hype, but I know what it is. I'll check it out though. I'll find it.
Can I spoil it?
Spoil it. I don't care. It doesn't affect
Alright.
me.
All right. So the whole movie, I'm thinking, oh shit, like by the end of it, like I don't know why, but like I was going with the narrative, and tell me if you agree with me, not Onzo. I really thought it was going to be a major battle, and you didn't know who was going to win at the end, right? Between
The guy
the
just
two
knocks him out and
guys.
that's it.
No, it's not like
Okay.
that. But
All
like,
right, all right.
it's just a great ending. But do you agree with that? That like the way they built it up, it felt like, oh, I actually don't know who's going to win this.
Yeah, especially what they did with Damon Wayne's character. You know what I mean? Made him get fat and everything. I was like, oh, that's what they're probably gonna do. But the way it happened, I was dying.
I
It
was
like,
laughing my ass off.
You trying to embarrass me?
You trying to embarrass me on TV? It's the
Yeah, that was
anti-Rocky,
funny.
basically, the J
Yeah,
Man.
that's
It's
funny.
like
Okay.
the answer
I'm looking at
for and it's
But
hilarious. It's actually
one I
really
wanted
funny
is-
as well.
But the one I wanted in the top 3, or at least winning, was Digstown. I wanted that up there too. I love
Which-
Digstown.
I haven't seen that
Town
either.
is good, but which is that one with Donald Woods in it? And it's like there's some dude who's really old and he's got to fight several matches.
James Woods. That's Digstown. That's Digstown. With James
Oh,
Woods
that is
and
Digstown.
Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah.
That
Louis
shit
Gossett
is
is awesome.
fucking great. I haven't seen that since I was a kid, but that is such
Yeah,
a good
movie's
movie.
really
If
good.
I remember it correctly, it's like he
You
fights like how many fights
Seven,
does he have?
seven. I think it's like
Seven.
7 guys or 10 guys in one night. Right? Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
good.
Well, Lou Gossett Jr. is awesome, so that sounds like a cool.
I don't think it's that one. I think you're looking at the 2020, the TV show, aren't you? Oh
No,
no,
Digstown's
that's-
1992, right? 92.
Oh wait a
92.
second, they've done a TV show of it. I don't understand. He's
Sure,
in both
why
of them?
not? They'll
It
come
looks
up with
like
an
they-
original idea at some point, I'm sure.
I don't know. I never heard of a TV.
Oh
show.
no, I'm tripping.
Probably
I
something
thought
else.
that I thought that Ludwig Gossett Jr. was in both of them, so I was like, "What the fuck's
Yeah.
going on there?" But yeah, that one is fantastic, man. I have to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got Oliver Platt in it as well, and Bruce Dern. Fuck,
Mhm.
it might be even better than I remember it. Okay, I've got something to watch tonight. That's good. Yeah, so. But that would have been a fun thing. I have never seen $1 Million Baby, but I've heard that one's really good, and I do
Million
like
Dollar Baby is really good.
I mean,
But it's drama boxing. It's not it's not building up to an excitement of a match. It's
Yeah.
more like a
I mean, it's
you know.
not. I wouldn't just like Rocky. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near Best Picture worthy, but it's definitely a great film.
if you were doing fight movies, you would have had to put Warrior in. That shit's fucking great.
Yeah, that's
Have
a really
you
good
guys
one.
ever seen Warrior? But have you ever seen Warrior?
I don't remember.
Okay,
That's
so
a
I
good
guess
one.
on the last tournament. Okay, so I got that mixed up with Gladiator, so I thought it was Warrior, so that's why I kept voting for it. Because Warrior's great, but Gladiator, I don't think I've even never seen.
Oh shit, I've never seen Gladiator either. Like I thought I watched a little
No, Gladiator.
stream
No,
and
Gladiator.
and I was like, "What is Gladiator?" I thought it was
No,
the Russell Crowe movie.
that one
I'm
is
like,
real. That one is really good too. It's about an up and coming boxer, right? And Cuba Gooding Jr. I believe is the champion.
Oh
they're
yes.
supposed to have-
Yeah.
Supposed to have a fight, but they end up becoming friends, and then he ends up finding out that Cuba Gooding Jr. has something wrong with him to where if he gets in a boxing match, he could die. So Cuba was like, I need this, and they actually have the boxing match, and he doesn't want to fight it. It's really good. It's a really good
really?
movie.
And
Yeah.
what's the one with? Is there one with a boxing one in South Africa, like a South African one? Do you remember that? Like it's set during apartheid.
Not that I remember. No.
Oh, okay, because I thought that was the one with Cuba Gooding Jr. in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's
No.
good. I've just never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Warrior for some reason. So, and then that's an underrated one. I don't think many talk about from 2011.
What about did you guys like Red Belt or Best of the Best? Those aren't. It's not boxing.
Oh, Red Belt was so good.
That was really
Red
good.
Belt
I remember seeing
so
that thing.
good,
Wow, this
yeah.
is really good.
Red Belt.
And I don't
was
think that
good.
one's
And
really
that's-
talked about that much. It seems.
at all.
Yeah, it seems like
And,
that's like an underrated.
Best of the Best is good too. Really good.
Is awesome. Come on. Now, what about the best fight movie of all time, Bloodsport? That is the #1 best movie ever.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
it's the best movie ever. It's the best movie ever.
This is the best movie ever. Yeah.
apart from AWOL.
Who?
I haven't seen.
AWOL, man. Like it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm sure it's called
Oh, AWOL. Yeah. Oh wait, AWOL.
Absent
No,
Without Leave.
Okay. Sorry, that's called Lionheart over here.
Oh, it's called.
Oh, Lionheart. Okay, I got
We
you.
call that movie Lionheart, or in some regions it's called Wrong
That
Path.
is the best Street Fighter movie.
For sure.
Like
For
the
sure.
game Street Fighter, that's like
It's like
Street,
yeah.
forget Jean-Claude Van Damme's the other movie. Like that, shit
Which is still
Street
fun.
Fighter.
Yeah, I can see that.
That
I didn't
was
like
awesome,
it, but
dude.
yeah, I can see that.
Lionheart. Yo, you didn't like Lionheart or
How
Street
do you
Fighter?
not
or
like
both?
Lionheart, man? What the fuck?
Mm.
Lionheart's classic, dude.
Lionheart is awesome.
I know,
Yeah, that's
some-
awesome.
Something with Jean-Claude Van Damme that after Bloodsport, like I really didn't like any of his movies. to be honest.
I own every Van
May-
Damme movie on DVD or
Maybe
Blu-ray 'cause of
Universal
entirely-
Soldier was good. I liked Universal Soldier,
For
but
sure.
other than that,
Hard
it was
Target.
like
How
garbage.
about Hard Target? John Woo? Come on. Hard Target's a
Yeah, no, I
masterpiece.
didn't like that.
Oh,
didn't like that.
dude,
That was-
what are you
Hard
doing?
Target was with the twin, right? Hard Target was
No,
the twin?
no. Okay, that's Double Impact, which was literally voted
Okay,
the
Double
greatest thing ever
Impact, yeah,
created by
But
humans.
Hard Target's the
Like,
one where he has the long hair, right? He has the long hair and
Yeah.
he drives a motorcycle.
I
Yeah.
based my entire life off Hard Target. He got an earring. I got an earring because of that. It's
Wait,
like he
is
got
it
the long
Hard-
hair. I'm like, I'm doing the long hair.
It's the one with the basketball player.
Hard
no.
Target. How are we now? Okay, Hard Target is Lance Henriksen, and they hunt the guys on the streets and stuff. And then Van Damme has the jean jacket. And it's like he's got the
Yeah,
long hair.
long
Born on
hair,
the Bayou
yeah.
song comes on. He's
Yeah.
got the earring. Oh man, his name is Chance Boudreaux. Chance. What kind of a? He's like, my name is Chance.
Do you think, by the way, that oh fuck no, I really am terrible with names like of actors. It's like as soon as I have to start thinking about them, I forget their names. But do you think Nicolas Cage was doing Jean-Claude Van Damme impression, or like the look in that airplane movie he does?
Con
like,
Air?
isn't it?
Yeah, I
Con
do.
Air.
I love Con Air. It's a great action film, but yeah, it's a little bit of a. It's a little bit of
Is
a
it a
Van Damme.
spoof?
Yeah.
Is it a spoof?
No,
of
it's
Van Damme?
legit.
No,
No, I don't.
no,
think it's a legit movie.
Yeah,
No, I think it's a
that's-
legit movie, but I'm saying, is it his look? Is that a spoof of Van Damme?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I always
it's
thought
in
it
a
was-
little bit of areas.
No, I don't think so. I think because he's like a real country dude in that movie. Like you could tell by the way he's talking and stuff,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, well, he
I don't think
kind of
it's
does
cool.
that with like majority of his film world. So it's like he'll watch an old film, and then it's like on his next film he'll like try to impersonate that. That's what he does a lot.
Mm, mm. But anyway, yeah, I love when he did that with Adam West's Batman. That was hilarious.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I thought that was so good. But yeah, because that wasn't in the script, by the way. He turns up with the kick-ass thing, and he just starts doing an Adam West impression, and they were like, that's brilliant. Yeah.
I don't think it was in the comics like that either, because I read the comic and it wasn't really
No.
done in
Yeah.
that with the pauses and all that.
No. But yeah, before we go, what was I gonna say? There's nothing else to say like about like fight movies. I wish I was on that stream though. Sounds fun, and we should do
Well,
something about
Raging
fight.
Bull- Raging
fight
Bull would
movies.
have probably went further than you expected. So no, I'm glad.
How far did it go? Why are you glad?
Raging
You
Bull?
don't like
Raging Bull
Raging
lost
Bull?
in the first round. It lost in the first round. Yeah.
But why do you not like Raging Bull? Oh, you lost
Not
to the
that I liked
robots?
it. I just in the first round. It's not that I don't like it. I just preferred other movies to get past it.
I
You
don't
would've
understand
messed it up.
why, but
You'd have messed up the flow. But the next one we're doing is vampire movies.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh.
That's
no,
awesome.
you
I
should
wanna
watch
be on
30
that.
Days of Night before.
I've seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
it already.
No, I mean Nerdman before doing it.
Yeah, I will. But yeah, no, it's that's a good one. That's a good
Near
one. But
Dark.
You
Near
didn't
Dark beats the win.
you didn't like my
Near Dark.
movie and TV vehicles one, right? Like Knight
Which one?
Rider and the Falcon. Because I said
No, we
like
didn't do that
we
one
should-
yet. No, we didn't do that one yet.
No, but I was saying we should do that. Like like Knight
Well,
Rider.
I thought you did that already.
Hold on.
What's it called? The Millennium Falcon and the
Anybody
Star
who
Trek
wants to do a
ship
list,
or
puts the list together and sends it to me. I'm not putting these
Yeah.
lists
Oh.
together.
Oh, okay, I'll put it together.
Yeah, I'm almost
Yeah, I
done
think
with
that
some
would
of
be
them. I'll
fun.
send them to you when I'm done, but I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I have everything. But I thought you already did that with like Knight Rider and Dukes of Hazzard or Hulk
I think
TV
we
show.
did we did the shows. We didn't do the vehicles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit. Who? So, what vehicle would you? Everyone, just quickly, would you want to have of any of the vehicles from like a TV show or movie?
Bro, there's only
So
one.
that I can think of ones to add to the list.
There's only one. There's only one vehicle, ship, whatever that y'all need. It's the Millennium Falcon, guys. That's it. There's nothing else.
Isn't that kind of a rusty piece of old shit though? Isn't it? Like
It's
it's not as good. It's not as good
a
as the
piece of
Star
junk.
Trek one. The Star
Yes, it
Trek
is. It's
one.
better. It's a piece of junk,
No
but it's
way.
the fastest ship in the galaxy, boy.
You've got replicators on the Star Trek one.
Oh, who cares?
What J-Man, you're a Star Trek and Star Wars guy. What would you
For
choose?
sure.
Star Trek ship or the Millennium
Enterprise.
Falcon?
Oh, you gotta go with the Star. You gotta go with the Enterprise. There's everything on that. You got the holodecks. You got like, you can travel
There you
through
go.
time if you do it properly and all that bullshit they do. So,
Yeah. And-
you gotta
And
go
if
with
you
the
want
Enterprise.
a ship that just sits there and lets it get blasted by other ships and hopes the shield survives, then you want the Enterprise. But if you
Oh
want
my
a ship
God.
that can fly through asteroids and evade
Only
TIE
if-
fighters, you want the Millennium Falcon.
No, which was supposed to get blown up in Jedi, and then they changed it. But like, no, I love the Falcon. I love the Falcon. See, they were willing to sacrifice Lando. Come on, I love the Falcon, but
Yeah,
like,
that was horrible.
realistically, you got to go with the Enterprise. Like, I think it could defeat the Falcon if
Yeah.
it came to it.
But Knight Rider would defeat both of them. So fuck.
Well,
you.
Knight Rider Kit is awesome. What about Car? You can get Car with the yellow instead of the red.
Okay, hold on. You need to add the vehicle from the Monsters TV show. Come on.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god.
What monsters? What are you talking about?
Of
What one is
course,
that?
From the
Cole
60s
has
show.
to come with some stupid crap.
Come on, it's iconic.
I'm trying to think what other ones. Obviously, there's all the Batmobiles. I have to add all the Batmobiles.
I like the General Lee.
I'm trying to think if there's enough there to
Oh, there should be.
to put on.
You have Airwolf,
The James
you
Bond
have
one.
Automan.
Oh,
the best
Automan is
James
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Black Beauty Green Hornet's car?
There's that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And Bruce Lee comes with the car, so that's even better.
If Bruce Lee comes with the car, then it's sick.
He's
If
your
Bruce Lee
driver.
don't- Oh shit, he is the driver. That's
The
right.
driver, like, I mean, you can't. You're screwed if the Black Beauty shows up. It's over.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, if anyone else has any ideas, just in case I forget any. Oh, there's the A-Team car, obviously,
The
which
van,
didn't
yeah,
do much, but it looked fucking cool.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, Starsky and Hutch, the Gran Torino, the red, the tomato.
I mean, speaking of vehicle, did you ever do a racing movie tournament yet?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I'll make
Like
a
a
list of
racing
that.
car movie?
Yeah. I mean, it
What
could
do-
be multi-genre too, with like horse races and stuff if there's enough. But yeah, mostly cars.
Okay. All right. Well, good. We're going to do the music one tomorrow, and that's going to be really fun. So just to let you know what it is we're gonna do like soundtracks. Not the whole soundtrack, but like songs from a soundtrack, like "Kiss from a Rose" from Batman Forever.
I knew you were gonna say that one.
And we're gonna look at which ones are our favorite ones and kind of celebrate that a bit. On
Yeah,
Easter.
well, I'd probably
I
just
think
do
it's gonna be fun.
soundtrack. I don't really think as much about like songs, and I don't know if there's like as many, but
Yeah, I'm like that.
Too bad you're only
I have
using
probably
Superman.
100 scores. I probably have like maybe over 100 scores on CD,
Yeah.
and then downloaded. I've got like I don't know how many.
But it's also going to be of movies as well, so like the best ones from movies. So
Right.
Then,
I was
then
saying
nothing beats-
that K Dots won't even like in his generation don't have that many like as much.
Yeah, because it's the same song, it's the same music every time.
then-
Great soundtrack.
Nothing should
What's your
beat
one,
Tina
Alpha?
Turner's James Bond then. If you're doing all movies, I don't know. That shit is
I
lit.
think there's better James Bond ones. I mean, there's better even James Bond ones than Tina Turner's. What
I
one
think
was
so.
that one?
I think there's
Like,
the best.
Is
it Live or Let Die?
No,
Oh,
it's
Golden.
Yeah, I think.
No. What about Madonna? I like the
No,
Madonna
GoldenEye.
song.
Which Bond was that?
That was the Die Another Day. I know people don't like that movie, but I like the I like the movie, but I like the Madonna song for it. But there's like Thunderball is pretty good. Live and Let Die is pretty good. Has a good song.
I like all the Roger Moore ones. Roger Moore's my favorite Bond until today. I don't care what anyone says. I don't.
He's
I
my
don't
emotional
care.
favorite.
Pierce Brosnan. Nerd man.
Pierce Brosnan, no way. No way. It's bananas.
Yeah.
Like the best Bond movies are Roger Moore, and best music.
I think
and
GoldenEye is one of the best ones.
who would you least want to leave your girl around?
None. They're old white men.
yeah, I told you, Woody Allen.
Casino Royale.
That
That doesn't count in the Bond pantheon or whatever.
That's not a bad shout, man. That guy is he's up to some sick sexual shit, like sometimes. Anyway.
That was a joke James Bond movie. That was like a jokey movie or whatever. It was.
Yeah, no, like it's Roger Moore. You don't want to leave your girl around Roger Moore. That guy will have his way with her like quick time. He's so slick. He's so
Yeah,
fucking
big time.
fast.
He's definitely the slickest, no question.
Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
sense of humor.
Nerdman, have you watched the Persuaders? It was right before James Bond. It was Roger Moore and Tony Curtis. He's
Yeah.
basically Roger Moore. He's basically
James Bond there, yeah.
James Bond and Tony Curtis. They both have
And-
cool cars, and they're both super rich and help people, and they try to one up each other. It is the damn best show. I've watched it like 3 times in a row. Like I watched it's like 25 episodes or something. I 100% guarantee you would like it.
Was it as good as The Saint? Because he was in that. as
Saint
well.
is
I
awesome
I
too.
love that.
Saint is
Yeah.
awesome too, but I haven't seen as much of it. I probably only saw the first season or so. The black and white. It was black and white for a bit, then it changed, right? So I think I saw some of the black and white ones. But Persuaders is awesome. It's Tony Curtis, the two of them together. They're just trying to one up each other and stuff. It's so good. What was that comment?
Roger Moore looked 50 when he was 20.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
That's not true.
I have Roger Moore's autograph in the next room, man.
He got the Bond gig too late. He should have got it earlier, man. Like, because
Right.
when he was at his best, I'm sorry, no one could touch him. And I like your guy, but I don't even think he's the second. Like, who did you say? Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan isn't even as good as Dalton.
Sean Connery. Dalton, he's way better than Dalton. What are you talking about?
No, Dalton's better than fucking like
No,
he's
absolutely
good.
not.
He was an
Absolutely
early
not.
day
Absolutely
Daniel
not.
Craig, man. He was an early
Absolutely
day Daniel
not.
Craig.
Now,
If you were
Dalton's
around for Timothy
movies I
Dalton-
liked. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, in the Timothy Dalton era, people were complaining that he was too serious. It was too gritty.
Yeah.
And we can't take
Yeah,
it. And then Daniel Craig came out, and I lost my shit because I did like Dalton. I lost my shit.
I
I'm
did
like,
too.
F this. If everyone likes this movie, I'm gonna fight everybody. And everyone's like, oh, this is the best ever. I'm like, really? When they were doing this stuff with Dalton, everyone took a shit. They're like, this is crap. This is not real James Bond. And they had this big fit and they had to change it all. And they had to make it a bit sillier again. And it's like, then they went back to this. Like, Daniel Craig is a very pale and poor imitation of the Dalton characterization, in my opinion. And I've read every James Bond book but the last two by Ian Fleming. So
Yeah.
And his movies are underrated too.
They
his
are.
two Bond movies are pretty good, but I
Yeah.
just think Pierce Brosnan is my Bond.
Oh, we've got to
He's
have
still
a
good.
debate over this. I didn't know you were Bond guys. Otherwise, I would have had a debate over this.
Oh, we need to do, yeah.
Yeah, all right, we'll set that up. Anyway, guys, I've got to peace out. We should do the best James Bond movie, actually. Funnily enough, we haven't done a tournament of that. But I've got to peace out. Guys, thanks so much, everyone who came on. Sorry I couldn't get to the bit with the soundtrack, but we're going to do that tomorrow. Promise. Other than that, peace out, guys.
Live long and prosper.